We are here live in Liverpool. This is what it is. Teacher will be joining us shortly, but I will be obviously introducing what it is right this second. Um, so we're here in Liverpool. We've been using Liverpool as a hub to go out to different places. Um, we did Sheffield last night. Um, we did Liverpool before that, and now we're going to another leg of the tour, of which we have 6 shows in a row, which is going to be insane. Um, we have several members of the Temple of Hip Hop who actually chose to take the task of joining us and having a real physical experience of hip hop on tour, um, to add to their credibility. And it sure enough is. But there's certain there's always obstacles when dealing with going on a tour. Um, and the fact of going on a tour is incredibly fun. It is. It's fun. Or there's no way around the word fun. You're in different cities all the time. You're in different places. You see different people. Um, it's a great time. Every show is an excitement of people that haven't been able to see Teacher, KRS-One. And most of them are not thinking about Teacher, KRS-One. They're thinking about KRS-One, the greatest MC of all time. That's what they have in their spirit and in their mind, and rightfully so. So, every time that we perform, it's a beautiful thing or an incredible experience that, or I see from the DJ side, I'm looking at people having an experience. And I know it's the best thing that they'll ever see, too, on top of it. Our show is the greatest show on earth. It's no bullshit. It's no bullshit. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. It's not me, technically. This dude made the hits. We have the greatest show ever produced in hip hop's history. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if you fucking rap 50 miles per hour. Doesn't matter if you got bad bling and you're just glistening all over the place and blinding people with your jewels. It doesn't matter. We are the greatest show that you've ever seen in your life. I promise you. And what's fucked up is the fact that it's gonna get better. It only gets more intense as we go along. And so, that being the case, everything that we're doing is crazy. It's mad respect to those who actually chose to come out. We got Lifted. We got J Best, King, Joey True, K Dot. Um,
King.
I thought I said King.
Lifted.
I said him.
Raharu.
Raharu. Raharu is holding it down on the
The sound.
the sound, or no, the engineer side.
Yes.
He's holding down the engineer. He's only had 2 shows too, and he's doing an absolutely great job. Uh, so we have a couple of members that decided to take it in and try to get down with us. And it's dope. It's dope. We have a crew. We come into the cipher, and this is what it is. So let us transition into. I want to get into this point. I believe teachers is going to get into this, and it's only technically. It's about 6 paragraphs, but they're short. But it is the temple of hip hop, as far as what it is. Okay. I'm gonna start at 693. We're in the 17th overstanding, the temple of hip hop. Teacher will pick up from where he left off, continue, break it down. But I think this is very important for this time, that those of us on tour, really, or I know those of you, obviously, everybody here is not on tour, but those on tour, this is our section, or right now, to understand what we're here, what are we doing out here. It's not it's not a time to relax, should I say. It is a time to enjoy it. It is enjoyable. Like, you can't get around that. It's enjoyable. But you must focus and do what you need to do in order to remain. So, I'm at paragraph 216 on page 693. Again, this is why the Temple of Hip Hop exists. We exist to curb the savagery within our own hip hop community with an attitude that seeks truth over individual desires. I'll say it again. We exist to curb the savagery within our hip hop community. So this is the radio, the television, with an attitude that seeks truth over individual desires. Truth over individual desires. What is that? Niggas desire to be rock stars. Niggas desire to be pop stars. Our real aim is we exist to curb the savagery within our own hip hop community with an attitude that seeks truth over individual desires. Truth. That's what we're here to present. we're really not here to do much more than that. We're here to present truth, facts, facts and truth, authentic truth, authentic facts. That's our purpose. We want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what is supposed to exist. It's not, we're not here to make shit up. We are making certain stuff up. But in the point of making stuff up, we actually have the authority to make it up. Which is something that you gotta understand. Or you have to take your own power and decide, make true what you know to be. Because what you know to be is not necessarily being presented as truth. Let me continue. Our aim is to inspire children beyond fear, rage, and doubt. The cause of so much adult injustice and evil in the world. Rage and doubt. That's the cause of so much adult injustice and evil in the world. Do you understand that? Rage and doubt. Rage. I can't take it. I'm bugging. Doubt. No, that can't be done. This prevents society from advancing. It's so sad that there's not currently an example of hip hop existing as its own society that you could look to and say, okay, no, I know exactly what he's saying, because that shit is fine. We're dealing with a world that doesn't have hip-hopia. And let me say that for the record, because the future actually does have hip-hopia and has an example of people that don't, or their character is different because they know the teachings of the gospel of hip-hop, so they act differently. But in this world, where we are right now, no. Rage and doubt is essentially leading our existence. And that's fucked up, because it shouldn't. Or everybody should be able to take control of themselves and actually do what they need to do. Let us continue. Our aim is to heal the wounds of ignorance on both sides, to free both the slave as well as the slaveholder from the victimization both groups have had to endure. Now, I know you're like, teacher, what are you talking about? What do you mean, save the slaveholder? But you really got to think of your own life. Think of the things that you don't want to tell nobody else that got you fucked up. Hey, let's keep it real. Let's keep it all the way real. There are things that you've done, we've all done. I won't exclude myself. I'm with you. There are things we have all done that, no, it's like, it's fucked up because it already existed. And our viewing of it essentially pulled us in this, that, and the third. But no, there's a point where we're at where, as adults, we should be able to reel ourselves in and fix ourselves. That's what the Temple of Hip Hop is about. We're here to fix ourselves. We know that this shit is wild. And we're at a point where, no, we can tame ourselves. The sad thing is that people don't want to tame themselves. Or some people want to just accept themselves. It's like, no, tame yourself. Tame the wild side of you. Get it under control. You don't do everything that your mind says that you can do, because you can do it. You have the right and the ability to do whatever you want. Opposite of the laws, and no, you still have to even get caught breaking the law. But opposite of that, let's just say you're alone. You do whatever you want. The point is to direct yourself, develop your own character. No, be a certain way all the time. No matter who's watching, no matter what's going down. Our aim is to heal the wounds of the ignorance on both sides, to free both the slave as well as the slaveholder from the victimization both groups have had to endure. Our aim is to hasten the actualization of the king's dream to sit at the table of brotherhood. Now, this is an ongoing thing that's clearly ridiculous. We're living in a world, or it's not just this color, or there's not a bunch of replications of me. There's white folk, Asian folk, European folk, Mexican folk, South American folk, Australian folk, mad folks. And to act like they don't exist really doesn't make sense. And King's dream is that, no, we actually come together. We are coming together. So how does that really formulate in real life? What's messed up is the other sides are really being emphasized as if, no, it shouldn't be done, because they're fighting against the fact that it is being done. And where is it being done? It's being done in hip hop. And that's what can't be denied. We're coming together. And we exist, and we are They're trying to hold on to the way that they have society, but society is really not that. We are the majority. And that's what you have to recognize and know and understand. Um, our teacher has just arrived, and so ready to get down?
Let's get down.
My G. Okay. Peace and much love to you all. I am Ancestral Someone, Temple of Hip Hop, the teacher, KRS-One.
As we say, she's. Okay, so I'm in the hot seat now. Hello, everybody. As you can see, I just walked in, just walked up, and catching what Minister Sun One was just talking about as well. You know, it's funny, we're talking about society, and you know what, too? I might want to get, give me my hat out of there. So I wanna just get myself.
I skipped ahead too.
What, in terms of the reading?
Yes.
It's all good. We're gonna read it all again. What I wanted to do was lift this up, though. Let's get some plates or something. I'm a little too low.
Okay.
And we should just look for something to that extent. So welcome everyone to the Temple of Hip Hop. We are here at the Metro Cola facility here, and it's crazy. I just got out of a cab, and what's interesting. Here we go. Here we go. The cab driver was saying that this weather is so crazy. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Well, here you got this one. Yeah, just hit me out. Hold up. Gotta put something on the back of that. As a matter of fact, here, wait. I got you right here, my G. Like this with it. Yeah, this way you can morph yourself. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Let me move back a little bit. Okay. So, like I was saying, this lesson, wait, let me finish the last point. The cab driver was telling me that here we're in Liverpool, and here in Liverpool, he says you get all 4 seasons in one day, which is an interesting point. You know, you get rain, you get sunshine, you get cold weather, and then you get like this fall thing. And it could happen for 2 hours, and another 3 hours. It could be all day, and then you get a little sunshine. But what I find interesting is the adjustment that you have to make to enter into new environments. You guys might not be able to see really my eyes in that way because it's red all around, but my eyes are red right now. Or partially red, I guess. They were more red 2 days ago, like bloodshot red. And the idea is that when we all landed here, we're from a different environment. So your body starts getting hit. Boom, boom, boom. Your body starts getting hit. And you not, even though you may feel sick or under the weather, a lot of times you're not. And yes, you could feel like, oh, what's going on? I have a chest cold or, whatever it is, but you're not really sick. You're really getting adjusted to a new environment. And what's interesting is that the body, believe it or not, loves to heal. Sometimes the body will harm itself so that it can heal. You see, the way in which we look at strength is not the way in which nature looks at strength. Nature doesn't look at strength as just because you're sick, that means you're weak. Or just because you have a flu or a cold or whatever, that means you're weak. No, the opposite is with nature. What happens to you makes you stronger. Simone has a acronym called for struggle. When you're going through a struggle, it's a situation that reminds us God's grace lasts eternally. God's goodness lasts eternally. God's greatness lasts eternally. You can put that G with anything. But the point is that a struggle makes you stronger. In nature, if you look at the nature of it, if you survive, of course, you usually come out on the other end stronger. It's the same way you look at lifting weights. To make your muscles bigger, you have to rip them. Did you hear what I said? You have to kind of rip your muscle fiber, and it has to heal back. And this is what gives you the muscle you need. This is what gives you the muscle, the abs, the whatever it is. This is what gives you. But your body has to break down to come back up. There's a part in the gospel of hip hop where we talk about, in the health section, where we talk about, isn't it ironic how you have to be sick in order to really eat healthy? Or for people to respect your time, or like if you're up and having a good time and you're moving, you'll work yourself and work yourself and work some more, and then other people also will call on you and call on you and call on you until you're sick, and everyone knows you're sick, including you, and you're in the bed and you're sitting there trying to get past this sickness, if it's one of those kinds of sicknesses. But you notice at that moment when you can't do no more work, or you cannot deal with yourself, that's when everyone gives you the respect. Why couldn't you get that rest before, when you was healthy? You just couldn't give yourself that rest. That you needed a good 48 hours to get yourself up, and you could not respect yourself enough to give yourself that 48 hours, and no one around you could either, until you got sick or broke the leg or the arm or whatever it is that had you laying in that bed. Now everyone respects your time. Now everyone respects your healing process. But what is the difference between then and a couple of days ago? This is the mentality we got to think about. Something inside you, I don't know, high blood pressure, or diabetes, or upset stomach, or heartburn, or whatever it is, the internal, okay? We eat all types of stuff, we do all types of stuff, until the doctor says, you're not going to live any much longer if you act like this. Then we find the time, some of us, to say, I'm going to eat healthier. But the object to being mature and conscious is to start doing it now. When you're healthy, be even more healthy. The body loves to rip itself, injure itself, so that it can become stronger. So there's two lessons here before we begin. One is that I just come here because I just got out the cab. This is my cab conversation. So I just got out the cab with a gentleman, want to know where you from, why, all of this type of stuff. But in that conversation, we started talking about the weather. And he was saying how Americans can't take it. He said, everybody in here sneezing and coughing and can't figure it out. He says, I love California. It's too hot. These kinds of things. And somebody coming from London, coming from England, I can imagine him in Arizona. He might fry, literally, get off that plane, and that Arizona 102 degrees hits your back. It'll be just like us here. He'd have to figure himself out. You could kill a man by taking him out of his land and putting him in a land he really doesn't understand. Yes, that was a whole nother line years ago. But that's the point. Like, imagine Africans. I got to put the twist on it. I was just at the International Slavery Museum. I didn't really take it in. I was really scouting a location to do some shooting and some filming, because the International Slavery Museum, every time we come to Liverpool, we go to the International Slavery Museum and take it in. They did have some new stuff up too, I must admit. I will go back when we do our actual filming. I'll go back and snap camera shot and do that kind of thing as well. But I mention that also because the weather. Imagine Africans coming from West Africa, heat, hot. And now you in London, North America, Virginia,
Stress that in London.
And in London too. Or Liverpool.
Right.
Where it.
Right, exactly.
Let me keep it real.
That's what dude stressed to me.
Right.
He said, no, this was the port.
This right.
This was the port.
London
This
wasn't
is-
the port.
Right.
Liverpool was. Okay.
Yes, it is.
This is where Africans got off first. And I tell you, learning in real time, I got off the ship, of course. We got here. We landed in Southampton. But when I got to Liverpool, my eyes just welled up. I'm like rubbing my eyes. My eyes are burning. I'm like, yo. But I took it in because this is nothing in comparison to what our ancestors was dealing with. But I got a little bit of it. You see, you can't read this in a book. You got to come to the port of Liverpool and see how it affects the African body. And when I got here, my chest was burning and my eyes mucusy and red, and I can't talk. I'm talking like that when we first got here. And then I had a show. I had to sip some tea, get my mind right, and go blaze these dudes in Sheffield. Big up to Sheffield, rocked them the other day. But I had to get myself together. Now imagine if, when I'm saying I rocked them the other day, imagine if that was, I had to pick that corn, that cotton, bale that hay, lift that lumber, with your eyes burning and your chest burning and you're cold and you're outside and you're doing the work. These were supermen and women. Don't get it twisted. Their story has never been told. We're only hearing the white racist story, the slavers story. But if we ever got to hear the story of our real ancestors and what they were dealing with, we look back on it now and say, man, that was some harsh times. And they'll tell you probably, they'll say, yes, it was hard for us. But just like I'm getting through here, imagine a big black man, 6'7" in height. Yes, my eyes are burning and my chest is burning, but no, I'm doing my work still. I'm gonna survive. And that's what I said to myself, I got to survive. I've got to survive. No matter what happens here, I'm going to adapt to this. And I suddenly gained enlightenment. The enlightenment was, you are communicating with your ancestors right now. This is how you communicate right now. You have to become them. And when you become them, you experience things that can't be said in a book or on a TV. You gotta actually feel the actual air, the weather. Your eye has to well up. Your chest gotta burn. You gotta feel like, oh God, I'm about to die. Because that's how your ancestors felt.
Yes, sir.
And that could never be in a book. You can describe it all day. But until you come to Liverpool and get your eyes blasted out, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get the full lesson. You're not going to get the full lesson. And this is something for us to really think about as we begin this read right now. As we begin this read. Because what we're talking about is how colonists, we're talking about the character of colonists. And how you can't have a colonial character if you're going to communicate with not only your own ancestors, but with ancient beings, period. To be guided by ancient beings. Shout out also to the mayor of Liverpool, Miss Joanne Anderson.
Lifted center information as well. We have our number.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Miss Joanne Anderson. Shout out to Lifted, first of all. Let me get a water. Excuse me, let me get a water. Yeah, let me get that right. Thank you very much. First of all, let me shout out Lifted because, excuse me, hold on one second, though. Water is still good.
You want tea?
No. What's that, a peppermint tea?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Shout out to Lifted first. because we had a meeting. Well, as you know, the Temple of Hip Hop, we out here. And so Lifted ran into a guy that had a television kind of studio set, a little production kind of set up. And he, I guess, was in touch with the mayor. Make a long story short, he came to a temple lecture. The guy who owns the studio and stuff came to a temple lecture. This one right here, the one we did here a couple of days ago. He was at that lecture. And shout out to everyone who was at that lecture as well. Had a great response here in Liverpool and those who were listening as well, and so on. But anyway, so he was here and offered his services, one of which was a television type studio. We want to go take a look at that and see what we can get done. But here nor there, we was going to meet there and meet the mayor of Liverpool there. We had lined up a meeting to meet the mayor of Liverpool there. And the message was that she was trying to figure out also how she might be able to bring the Temple of Hip Hop to Liverpool, maybe in a more official way, maybe something. But as you know, everywhere we're going, we are advocating to senators, mayors, congressmen and women, those in government, that your town needs a hip-hopia. Your area, just like you have a little Italy, a little Greece, a Chinatown, maybe a little Caribbean, just like you have these little sections of culture within major cities, we're advocating that you have a little hip-hopia, a little hip-hop in your area. We like to go to the areas that's most broken down, the area that needs restoration in the city. Every city got their area that needs that restoration. And so take us to the area that needs the restoration and let's centralize hip-hop in that area. Bring the business forward, bring everything hip-hop to this one little area and get it started. As you know, we're talking to the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. We're also talking to the mayor of Camden, New Jersey, Vic. Get his last name. Every time I say it, I forget his name. Because I only call him Victor, you know. But the mayor of Camden, New Jersey, we're talking to him as well, and others like Virginia's governor's office as well. It came out and saw us when we was dealing with the 1619 project. We did a lecture for them, and the Virginia governor's office was there. And we brought that up there, and it was like, yes, you know, everyone we speak to about this, big up to Atlanta. Atlanta is John and Jonathan, what's his name though?
Then Karstopin.
Karstopin.
Yeah, Karstopin.
Victor Karstopin. That's why I don't say his last name. Victor Karstopin. We call him Vic One. That's it. And so, but he's the mayor of Camden who came out and said, yo, I got to be part of this. He heard about it and said he has to be part of it. And what makes Camden so real is that Camden is only 9 miles long and got 80,000 people in it. So if you could get those 80,000 people or a majority of them to agree that Camden should be renamed a hip hop city, there it is. Like, that's it. This is what it is. And so we're looking at these models. Every city is offering something different. Every city is offering something different because of the type of city it is. But remember that hip-hopia is a franchise situation around the world. Once we get one started, we're going to get them popping all over. That's also why we have the Temple of Hip Hop, for us to learn the character that it takes to build cities, to build civilizations, to erect nations, establish nations. As you can see, this is not just about whether you have money to do something. This is outside of money. The money will come. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is a character that when you receive 10 million, 2 billion, 4 trillion, are you going to jerk the money off like so many others have done? Can you stay with the goal? Well, that comes with some sort of spiritual training. You have to be able to see your world beyond the material stuff that you can grab, and you got to be real about that too. We talk that shit all day. Yeah, I'm with God, and yeah, I. Then somebody show up with the Maybach, and they can immediately buy your whole congregation. Simple and plain. No, you can't be impressed with the glitter and glamour of the world if you're trying to build a nation and a civilization. What is important to you as a nation builder, civilization builder, is laws, principles, heritage, traditions, customs. This is what's important. Those that run nations understand that. And that's why they're clamoring around us, clamoring around me and us, I should say. Because, like I said, he did his own thing on the side and ran up on that. Shout out to Hakeem Green, who introduced us to Mayor Ras Baraka. He did his thing over there. Other temple members are moving in their way with the access that they have in that sense. Senators and stuff are coming around me. City officials have nothing in their mind says, well, he's a rapper and I'm just around him because he's a celebrity. No, they know that when they come to see KRS, you might be caught up. You might have criminal minded in your head, even if you're the mayor. But you know you're going to talk to this guy about something serious that you probably can do in government or in education. You know you're going to talk to this guy about that. And they're coming out. They're coming out in droves. Because it's a new day. I don't know, many of you might have heard me say it, but I'm beginning to change my view on voting as well. I'm beginning to mature my view on voting. Because like I said, I'll run through it real quick. And all of what I'm saying too, by the way, pertains to our read today. We're talking about nation building, and we're talking about the character of a nation builder. Different from a colonist and an imperialist. That's not nation building. That's actually tearing down nations. What we need is to build up nations. And that's the character we're discussing here with hip-hopia, the work that we're doing right now, the work we're doing here in Liverpool as well, and around the world. This is the work we're doing. So let me without getting off that point, I just want to make sure that you take in what I say before we do this particular read. But I was getting ready to point something out. And let me also say this, Dan, before I even point that other piece out. I just came from the Liverpool Museum. It's too much in a day. It's just too much in a day. I just came from the Liverpool Museum, which by the way, they're doing a hip hop 50 years exhibition. Yeah, I gotta say this too. And again, people are just starting their 50-year hip hop exhibition on their own with no, with no approval from anybody, just taking and just doing stuff. I rolled up on them. We got another meeting coming Tuesday. We're gonna see what they're talking about. I mention all of this, because of the character it takes to build nations. I'm not gonna get into this, but voting, real quick. I'm changing my view on the voting. I'm maturing it. Why am I maturing it? Because too many of my friends are government officials now.
Real niggas.
Huh?
Real niggas.
Real niggas are actually the government. And listen to what I'm saying to you, because some people don't get this yet. I'm talking to you from the inside. Okay? This is no nonsense. This is no BS. Me, I know the voting process. It's a fraud. Straight up and down. Voting is what you give poor people, okay, that don't know the vote, don't know, but you want to be part of the political system. You don't study philosophy, you don't study democracy, you don't just study political science, you have nothing to do with sociology, human nature, none of that, but you want to vote. Never read the Constitution, but you want to vote. Don't understand the Declaration of Independence or the function of government, but you want to vote. So people with no voter education running for voter registration leads to voting annihilation. You'll get shredded, okay, in the voting process if you're not an educated voter. People should be trained to vote, not just given the opportunity to vote. That's abuse, because somebody who knows what it is going to take your vote and use it against you because you don't even know. Voting is a skill. It's a skill. It's not my right to vote. And big up to those who did fight for the right to vote. Shout out Dr. Martin Luther King and everybody else who was there.
But they thought it was something different.
They were fighting for something different. They were fighting for something completely. That's why I'm going to say that real quick. Shout out to the ancestor for fighting for voter rights. Okay. Shout out to the ancestor for that. And that had more to do with America's hypocrisy to African Americans, really. Not following your own laws and all that stupid stuff. But put that to the side. Shout the ancestor real quick. But come over here now. You can't have democracy and capitalism. System flawed right from the start.
That's right.
Democracy is a mob rule system. Just because the majority agrees, that's what makes it right. Well, Adolf Hitler, remember him? He was democratically elected because most of Germany felt it was right. Throw these dudes in the oven and let's get a new country started. That's democracy. Democracy says, me, this black man you looking at right here, is supposed to be a slave by nature and by God. And because all these white folk agree, it's right, right? I'm not going to quote the man, but Socrates once said or implied that the problem with democracy is that the opinions of the unlearned and the ignorant carry equal weight with the wise and the learned. That's democracy. That's the problem with democracy. Everybody talking. And what happens? The real answer never gets heard. Changes in political science. Anybody who studies political science knows that all mass change happens with a minority, not with the majority. It's a minority of people that come together and make changes for the whole majority. It's for these reasons, including the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Not to mention that dumb shit, okay? It's for these reasons that I'm like, fuck that voting shit. It don't make no sense to somebody who knows and reads.
It's not real.
It ain't even real. It ain't even important. But guess what? There's a game being played. There's a game being played. And I now know the game. Damn! Damn!
Life is a game.
Life is a game with its own name and its own aim. It's simple and plain. Listen, this is the maturity right here. Okay, this is the maturity. Everything I just said to you is solid. That's how I really think. Okay, that's what I think. Okay, this is bullshit all the way. But that is how I feel about it. My feelings is based on knowledge and it's based on truth. But it's still how I feel. If I'm really seeking truth and real facts, I gotta look at what is going on. Not what I think, not what I read, not how I think it should be. No, I got my chance for it. I just told you all of what I thought. I just told you what I think, how I think it should be. Yeah. Okay, I just told you all that. But now the truth. Lords of the Underground is the council for Newark, New Jersey. Okay. West Ward is being ran by leaders of the new school. Okay, the West Ward of Newark, New Jersey is governed by laws of the underground. Now, if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying and cut this thing off right now. I mean, come on, but if this is the truth, if what I'm saying is the truth, that the mayor of Newark, New Jersey wears Adidas to work because he says this keeps him grounded in his hip hop. If the mayor of New York is not declaring himself a hip hop mayor and putting real money behind his mouth, you didn't see that last press conference? Wait a minute, hold up. Now you could sit there and pout and be mad and try to claim I'm a revolutionary and all this stuff. But when the truth is in your face, the mature thing to do is to respond to it. You have your opinion. Nobody got to take your opinion away from you. But there's the truth. The truth is, I'm 57, okay? 57-year-olds are running the country. Okay, let me just keep it real with you. Okay, everybody I know running the country. I'm talking to chief of police who's singing Sound of the Police with me. I'm talking to mayors and senators. I'm talking to people who are running for office and asking for support. They know exactly what my message is, and they still come and say, we need this support because you're speaking the truth, and that's what we about. We want to change this government and make it better. Are you down, Chris? Damn. God damn. What am I supposed to do? Tell me what come on. This is what we're up against. Kwame Ture told me one time, rest in peace, my brother, rest in peace. Kwame Ture told me, he said, if you're successful at your revolution, you will become your enemy. You will sit in the seat of your enemy. And it's right. If you kill the devil, you got his seat. What does that make you? God damn. There's no way out of this shit. There's fucking no way out. Okay? So it's like you look at this and you say, okay, here's what we gonna do. Okay. For some reason, God has prepared us for this. We have a gospel. We have a character by which we cannot sell our people out. We have principles that if we adhere to these principles, we cannot sell ourselves out. Okay, God has prepared us. Let us stand on our principles and let us stand by our gospel. Let us stand on the character that all of these people are coming around to. Because remember, it's the guy who yelled black cop that got black cops with him. It's the guy who yelled sound of the police that got the police with him. Okay, it's this guy who is railing against the educational system for what they're teaching, who is surrounded by teachers and professors and educators. So you got to think for a minute and say, well, wait a minute. If the very people, professors, educators, government officials, police officers, firemen, doctors, lawyers, they're all coming around this guy named KRS-One, and they're saying everything you say and we agree with it. What are we supposed to do? Now, what are we all going to do? You said the piece. You said what the problem is. Now, what's the solution? And we're all sitting around trying to figure out what the solution is. My good friend Taji called me. Am I saying her name right?
Yes.
Taraji. Simone's not here. So much for good friend. I said that satirically. But I'll get her name in a minute.
It is Taraji.
Taraji, right?
Yeah.
But Cookie from Empire, okay? Cookie from Empire, okay? Called me up the other day, called Simone up the other day, actually, and said, we need to get the Stop the Violence movement back up and running. She said, I got some ideas. I want to talk to you about it. She was running, I was running. We're not on the phone yet. Probably in another couple of days, we'll get on the phone and hash these things out. But here you have Cookie, okay? Now, me, I'm not in that world. I'm not a Hollywood person. I'm not an actress or actor. In fact, I think Hollywood is kind of fake, if you ask me. All that Golden Globe, Oscar Award, all that, nah, you're not gonna get KRS over there. The other side to it, though, is I'm not in that world, okay? However, people from that world are in my world. Okay, my world is hip hop, period. That's my world. Okay, others say, yo, but I'm hip hop too, and I'm willing to stand on my shit. Now, I may be a Hollywood actress or actor. I may be a police officer. I may be a school teacher or a professor or whatever, but I'm standing on hip hop as well, Chris. What word do you have for me? And I say all of this to say, to give you a clearer picture, not only of the leadership, but what's happening to us in real time. This is what's happening to us.
Every day.
Every hour. This is what's happening. This is what's happening.
Taraji Henson.
Taraji Henson. Big up to you, Taraji. I will get on the phone as soon as I can. But she's calling out, yelling, stop the violence. Like, big up to Miss Hanson right now. Like, right, out of all the things to call KRS-One about, she's like, yo, you don't see what's happening with these kids? You don't see what's going on with these streets? What's going on with hip hop? Artists getting shot up, dead again. We ain't had enough with Tupac and Biggie, right? No, that wasn't enough. We gotta keep going. She's responded, saying, yo, this is what I'm thinking about. Calls me up, says, yo, are you thinking about it too? I'm like, word, I'm thinking about it too. How can we come together and make something happen? So I say all of this to say in a long intro here about politics, and I'm changing my view on voting as well. I'll put a period on that because of everything I just told you. I have my own philosophical stances for voting and against voting. But none of that shit matters to the truth. The truth is, government officials are coming to me for answers. If you're going to keep yelling at the government with no answers, who becomes the fool then? Who becomes the immature then? It won't be me. Put me in a room with a couple of dudes that can make decisions, and I'll pull a chart out for you. Here's what we're gonna do over the next 5 years, okay? Diddy, da-da, doo-doo, boom, boom. Here's how we gonna do it. Oh, I do have answers. You can believe that. But for me to get my answers met, I'm gonna have to mature my damn self. I can't hold the same views on voting that I had before when I know that mayors and senators and others are depending on your vote for them to play their game, for them to stay in office, for them to do what they gotta do. They need that vote. Imagine something as simple as a vote holds the key to American power. Just think about it, regardless of whatever I think. Forget that, put that to the side. The game.
That's the way they got there.
And that's how they got there. That's how the weakest and most ignorant of people are ruling you right now. Right now. Right now. And here's why. It's not that they're smarter. It's not that you're dumber. It's that they're playing a game. Oh, Jesus. It's a game. Poor people take the game too serious.
Actually, a popularity tool.
Huh?
It's a popularity vote.
Of course it is.
Can I be popular to you?
It's their democracy, power based on numbers,
Yes.
popularity.
Do you want to see me here?
Yes, we want to see you there.
Right.
We want to see you. And look at the game being played. Look at the game being played. So you have this gentleman, Herschel Walker, in Atlanta. And you have Warnock, Senator Warnock. He's already the senator. And you would think that a good man like Warnock, a senator, Senator Warnock, you would think that he's already the sitting senator. I haven't heard too much scandal come out about him. Yeah, his wife wilded out on him at the beginning of this thing. He was wilding, okay? But no, the man got into office and he started doing his thing. Okay, now you would think here in Georgia, he's solid, right? He's solid. No, Here comes this dude, Herschel Walker, a Heisman Trophy football dude, this kind of thing. Black man. So he running on Republican, okay? So everybody know the Democrats are black, Republicans are white. Okay, we all know what the deal is. But the white folk go get a black man. Oh, they are devious. They go get a black man, throw him up. Now this guy, okay, Herschel Walker, with all due respect, I don't know the man, so I'm not gonna speak any illness about the man. But you can go and look him up. He's running on an anti-abortion campaign. Yet, 2 women have already come out and said he had abortions he paid for and encouraged them to go get abortions. In addition to that, the man is not as great an orator as Warnock is. Warnock, you can tell when he's speaking, he's a reverend. He's preaching. He has an articulation about his points. Herschel Walker's a football person, no disrespect, but he's not as articulate, not as poetic as Warnock. They're running neck and neck together. The vote came in, it was a tie. Wait! Hold up, y'all. Hold up, you're not seeing the game. Not seeing the game. These Republicans want this black man out of here, okay? And it's not even about black man. I can't even say black man because that's not what it is in Georgia. Don't get it twisted.
It's their man.
Right, it's their man. I got to make this clear with you listening to me, for people all over the world listening or whoever's in Georgia listening. Georgia can be racist. You already know, okay? But that's not what's going on right now, okay? What's going on right now is we want our guy in power. That's it. He can come from China. This dude can come on with no head. He can come on and say, I'm the headless candidate. As long as he somehow articulates their policies, they're willing to stand behind him even if he's caught lying. He's lying, caught lying. He's caught lying.
So what?
So what? You are our guy, and we're going to stand with you and push you into that office because you're going to do what we want you to do. This is what it is. They push this guy so hard that he's running neck and neck with a seated senator. The Senate is wondering if he's going to run next week because this dude, who is not even as articulate, not a reverend, none of that.
Not qualified?
Not even qualified, really. Right, this man's already a senator, Warnock. This dude just trying to get in and don't know much about, I'm not going to, listen, I don't know the dude individual. I'm going by the TV, okay, and internet, and what I'm reading and seeing about the man. So
Football player.
But keep it at that, okay, just keep it at that. I'm not judging nobody. But take a look at the game being played. Look at the game being played. We black folks sitting around going, oh, he cheated on his wife, so I'm not gonna vote for him. You fucked up. You have no idea what the game is. Oh, he killed 2 people last week. I'm not gonna vote for him. Fucked up. Don't know what the game is. Ain't got nothing to do with morality. Got nothing to do with your character. It has to do with, are you going to hold the football and take it to the line? Are you going to carry our interests into what we want? That's why everybody wants Trump back. Not everybody, but half the country wants Trump back. Why? Because he follows the policy. He said, if I get in office, I'm going to be putting Supreme Court judges in that's going to be ruling like this. He got into office, guess what? Roe v. Wade is out of here. Quick. And you think anybody care about his adultery, his cheating, his this and that, his racism, the Klan support? And who gives a fuck? Nobody care about none of that.
He killed niggas on
Fifth Avenue. He said, if I shoot you on Fifth Avenue, I ain't going to jail. They said, you're right. Let's vote for him. More white women voted for Trump than for Hillary. Figure that one out. White women is Trump's biggest voting bloc. Go figure. But here's the game being played. Those white women are surrounding themselves not around the man and his personality, but around the policies that he promises to put into place. Now, black people, we ain't learned that yet. I could attest to that. The minute our leaders do something we don't like, we throw them away. That's why we ain't got no leadership. And that's why white folk got leadership. Because they leaders do the same exact things, but they don't throw them away. Because your moral life, your personal life ain't got nothing to do with getting Supreme Court judges on the bench to make laws against you. We sitting here arguing amongst each other over who wore red shoes versus who wore blue shoes, and now you ain't got Roe v. Wade anymore. That's over. Now you'll be arrested. Okay, trying to get an abortion in some of these states now. You a doctor, you can lose your license saving a woman's life with an abortion practice. If an abortion was necessary to save this woman's life, you could lose your license.
Never practice again. Ever.
How does a man, period, get to tell a woman what to do with her body? How does that, how? Where's the logic in any of this? Don't matter. It's about power and who can wield the sword of it. So while you sit there a slave going, I don't like him, I don't like her, I don't know about this. Everything led by emotion, because you know that's how Biden got into office. He got everybody emotional. My son. Go back and look at the campaign. Biden didn't run on no issues. And most of the issues he ran on, he never fulfilled. Go back.
And he can't even speak now.
Huh?
He can't even speak now.
Wow.
He's fucking up every.
Oh, but that's been the case.
For what?
He can't, right. Well, as a president, he's supposed to be able to articulate the plan. Kamala's invisible. Gone. Right. What's she doing? Nothing. So at the end of the day, you know, what I'm trying to emphasize here is, do you not see the game being played? I'm 57. I'm learning the game. I'm learning the game. I'm learning the game from the inside. And I'm sharing the game with you for those that understand this. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you just don't. But here's the game. The game is policy, not personality. That's the game. Policy, not personality. So I can shake hands with a Klansman. Why? Because we both agreed that I should be back in Africa, right? The Klansman said, get your ass, go back to Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Marcus Garvey. I agree with you. Matter of fact, can you help me? Since this is what you think, and this is what I think, let's come together and get my ass back to Africa. Okay, because that's where I know I'm supposed to be. With my land, my gold, my diamonds, my silver, all that. I'm supposed to be over there. You can have America. Give me back Africa. But see, this is also psychological, because if Marcus Garvey says, back to Africa, we all go, yeah, man, yeah, man. But let a white man say, you need to go back to Africa, he's somehow racist now. This is what I'm talking about in terms of immaturity of mind, and how we at the Temple of Hip Hop can't be like that. We have to be clear-minded and clean-hearted. Clear mind, clean heart. So that we can see. We gotta be able to see what's going on. You gotta be able to see what's going on. So this is the point. As we begin now our reading. I don't know if someone said it to you, but the Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop ministry, hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. We believe that to preserve hip hop, we gotta preserve hip hoppers. Health, love, awareness, and wealth. These are the foundations by which we stand upon. We do breaking, MCing, graffiti art, and DJing for the purposes of peace, love, unity, and joy. Rap is something we do. Hip hop is something we live. We are not just doing hip hop, we are hip hop. These are the tenets of our principles. This is what brings our culture together. So welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. We're free thinkers here. Nothing here is offensive. Nothing said or implied is offensive. Like if you say something to me, I'm gonna be offended. No, I'm not. And if I say something to you, I hope you're not offended as well. We are intellectuals here, and we're thinking our way through the problems of our society. And why? Because we are the leaders. We are the ones now that gotta come up with better environmental protections, better ways to deal with this mental health issue that Americans and really the world is dealing with. We're the ones up now to deal with these challenges. What's the solution? What's the answer? That's why we read in our gospel, because we're creating a nation. And so, like I said, I'm changing my views on voting. I'm not going to tell you get out and vote now. You'll never hear that. But what I will say is that hip hop can really use a voting block.
The voting system.
Well, before we get to the system,
Okay.
that's for us. No, our own voting system. No, that's a whole nother level that we deal with on our own. I'm talking about us dealing with the American system. Yeah. And they system, okay, in playing their game too. You know, that two-party system. Why is it only two parties, Republican and Democrat? Why? Okay. But if we're gonna play that game, then hip hop, imagine if we had 2 million people registered voters that claim hip hop's issues.
That's right.
We put a 5-point plan together and say, everybody that's with this is our voting block. I think the Temple of Hip Hop can do that. I think we can do that. I know Hip Hop Alliance can do it as well. There's other organizations that are more politically minded dealing with hip hop as well that may want to take part in this as well. But what I'm saying is that in some kind of way, if you understand the game, then we hip hoppers need a voting block. We need 2 million votes that we could put on any candidate at any time. And this is going to open the doors of power to us. This opens the door. It's not the only thing that opens the door of power, you know that. But if we don't have this, it's like a toaster oven doesn't make your whole kitchen. But without a toaster oven, your kitchen is you can't get no toast, my G. Like, toast bread, you want to toast the bread. I know it's a simple thing, or like a blender, these things are simple things that you should think, at least I'm beginning to think of voting in that kind of way. I'm looking at my entire political kitchen and I'm saying, you know what? I may not do smoothies, for instance. I do smoothies, of course, but I may not do a smoothie every morning. That's a once in a week thing for me, a smoothie. But the rest of my family may want one on Tuesday, may want one on Wednesday. Why don't I just go ahead and buy the smoothie maker, have it there, it's next to the blender, next to the toaster. We don't need these things every day, but without them, your kitchen is kind of bland. Your kitchen is without what it needs, even though you may not even eat bread or eat toast or butter. But a guest coming over, you gotta be able to make toast. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's how I'm viewing voting. And you'll see throughout, as we go into the future, how I'm gonna be navigating this. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna register myself to vote. I don't know where I'm gonna do this at. Probably in New Jersey or New York. Register to vote right there. Make sure I can say, yes, I'm a registered voter. And if we can get 2 million hip hoppers to be registered voters, ready to vote on issues to deal with hip hop, we can do a lot. We will change the entire scope of America's political system. And it really, look how flimsy the system is. Look how weak it is that we little hip hoppers can, if we just unite around what they say is important, we take them. We take them. Just like that. But the more we stand on the outside arguing, complaining, and like me, really revolutionizing against that system.
Just reactive, we can force them
Well,
to make certain decisions.
they have to, because we're playing their game.
Right.
We playing their game, and it's not even their game. We understand the game.
That's right.
And see, that's the point. I thought it was their game. All this time. I'm saying that's their game. Why get caught? The best way to win a game is to never play it. So I don't play their game. But now I realize it's not their game. Take the Y off of it.
It's a game.
It's a game. Actually, it's the game.
Yeah, right.
It's actually the game. But it is, in a sense, it's a game. That's really more accurate. It's a game. You play the game well, you win the spoils of the game. If you don't understand the game or so, you just stay on the outside of the game. And for many years, I stood on the outside of the game. Not that I didn't understand it, I didn't want to be part of it. I know the game, I'm not trying to be there, but I didn't really know the game. And here's what I'm saying. I knew the game, everything I'm telling you is correct about it. Until it's your friends that become the game. When it's your friends, you can't deny me and Minnie and Ross Baraka and all of us was in a club called Sensations in New Jersey. This is the gutter. This is hip hop gutterness, okay? This is where every MC went and said the illest shit, okay? It is called Sensations. If you had a little more money, you went to a place called Zanzibar. Zanzibar was out of control, okay? These are the places that were in Newark, New Jersey. Ross Baraka there. We sitting down. He the mayor. I'm KRS, a philosopher. We come together. He like, yo, remember Zanzibar? He like, word. I used to be by the bar. Yo, remember this thing over here? Yeah. Yo, remember we used to have to park up the block? Yeah, yeah. Now, how is this possible? That this philosopher, rapper, talking to the mayor and other police officers too. They chiming in. Oh, you was in Zanzibar? Dude, that ain't nothing. Let me tell you about, and they go off into some other craziness. These are the police now. These are the police. What do you do?
The other police died.
Yeah, the cops we grew up with are dead. Now we the cops. We growing up with the cops. We are. Okay, we the cops now. We growing up, okay? What do you do with that? You keep talking the same rhetoric? Or you start coming up with solutions and answers because you're sitting in the seat that can make it happen now. You're sitting in the seat now. So now you're sitting in the seat. What kind of plans you got? You argued for 30 years and put a strong argument together for 30 years. Oh, officer, overseer. Mm-hmm. Strong argument there. But now you're the overseer, Chris. You're the overseer, Chris. Chris, you're the black cop. Now, black cop. You're the black cop now, Chris. How do you police a city? You used to talk about hip-hopia, right? Hip-hopia. How do you police hip-hopia? I'm talking abolish the police, okay? But am I? What am I talking about? How do we do this? No, your argument got to be strong and it got to be right. And it got to be based on truth. And the truth of the matter is, our people are looking for solutions and answers. And I'm not reading about this. I'm experiencing it. And so in the experience, I got to come up with an answer my damn self. Or be looked like a fraud that you would be. You would be the fraud. You're going to rail against the system for 30 years, then the system surrenders. And says, fuck it, you're right. Okay, you're right. And then it says, what are we going to do? And you have no answers? Nah, that ain't happening with us. System says, you're right, we understand, this is what the problem is. Now what's the solution? I'm coming with hip-hopia. This will solve 90% of our problems with youth, with the way urban governance is conducted, education, jobs, city respect, low crime or no crime. Hip-hopia deals with all of that. Mayors and senators and governors, they're looking at what I'm saying and they're saying, wait a minute, we see this. We see this. Why don't we try to make it work? And these are the conversations we're having, one of which we were supposed to have today with the mayor of Liverpool. Today we was going to have that conversation, but she got sick. So she should rest well, and we hope she gets well. But she got sick. We'll catch up with her a little further down. But and it's Sunday on top of that. Imagine this: the mayor was ready to meet on a Sunday. On a Sunday, the mayor ready to meet, want to talk. But then she came under the weather. She said, I can't do it. We'll do it another day. And we will. But guess who's reaching out? Guess who's willing to meet? Liverpool could use a hip-hopia over here, sure. No doubt. And draw the rest of Britain here. You don't think the tourism board can see this too? These are good ideas. And if you don't have ideas right when people are asking you, then you become the fool. You become the one who is just talking with no action behind his or her words. That's not what we are. We are the temple of hip hop. We've been at this for over 30 years. Our dreams are now being fulfilled. Your dreams have now been fulfilled. Get out your seat and let's get ill. Yo, that's Run DMC. And so let me start the read real quick. As you know, these are short reads because we are on the go. Big up to Maricola. I'm here again doing the Metrocola. Metrocola. Let me get that right. I'm here again, and they're hosting us is what I'm trying to say. So big up to them. They're hosting us again. So let's get into this read. As I told you before, as we read, what we're doing is we're checking character. Now we're looking to build our character as nation builders. We're looking to build our character as those who are establishing cities, okay? Those who are civilization builders in that sense. And that's why we're reading this. We're reading about colonialism. We're reading about imperialism. We're reading about the character, what actually happened to the United States just after the Civil War, how black folk were ran out of office, black and white, were ran out of office by this other group. That it also included other black people too. So it's not even black or white. It was this group interest against this other group interest. And this is the game that's being played on us even today. While we look for the black candidate, they give us one. And dude ain't black at all, you know what I'm saying? And so we get duped again. Rather than standing on policy, standing on principle, standing on what we know we need as a community, not as a race, but as a community, this is what we need. And standing on that means everybody's on it. Native American, Arab, Persian, black, you name it, we all here. Asian, everybody here. Because we hip hop. And we want this. And we all stand on that. This is how moves are getting made. This is how moves are getting made. And you use whatever tools you can to make those moves. Now, Chun One was talking about these colonists, as usual, and the moves that they made. And they trying to get you to make colonialism and imperialism the normal part of your life. Like, this is how we supposed to be living. No, that's sorry, that ain't how you're supposed to be living at all. I want to read you this real quick. Now look, this is the character. This is a character, not only that we shouldn't become, but I have to read the character because this is also what happened to the United States. This is the character that made it, even though not English character. I'm getting ready to read Spanish character. The original Spaniards that came to the United States met black people here and commenced robbing, raping, and etc. This is this European group. And when you say the Spanish or the Spaniards, we can't even discuss the Spanish people. They have nothing to do with this. Nothing. Okay. In fact, when you say Spain, what you're really saying is the church. That's what you're really saying. What you're really saying is church. So this is how the church through Spain is coming at the world. I'm at page 684. I'm beginning at paragraph 177. However, government-backed Spanish corporations, for example, would arrive at our beaches having never seen us before, looking for the gold on our islands. We would come out to greet them in love, and they would read in Spanish a document known as the requirement. Now imagine, we don't understand what they're saying. They don't understand what we're saying. But here they come, speaking Spanish. From the time they get off the shore, they come on the beaches, and this is what they say. Quote, I implore you to recognize the church as a lady, and in the name of the Pope, take the king as Lord of this land and obey his mandate. If you do not do it, I tell you that with the help of God, I will enter powerfully against you all. I will make war everywhere and every way that I can. I will subject you to the yoke and obedience to the church and to his majesty. I will take your women and children and make them slaves. This is called the requirement, and the reason it's in the gospel is because every scholar knows this. I have other documents, I have other things that were said, but this one, you can find everywhere. This is the example, and it's called the requirement, okay? And they're saying this in Spanish, okay? To a bunch of black people looking at them like, what? Okay, okay, here we go. I will subject you to the yoke and obedience to the church and to his majesty. I will take your women and children and make them slaves. The deaths and injuries that you will receive from here on will be your own fault and not that of his majesty nor the gentlemen that accompany me, end quote. After that, the muskets came out, the attack dogs came out, and the bombs went off. Right here. Not a better thought, not a more moral character, none of that. Murder and death, violence and terrorism. This is how the party gets started. As black Africans, we lived in peace and with respect amongst the natives of ancient Mexico centuries before the arrival of the Spaniards in the Americas. Huge 2,500-year-old stone sculptures of African heads throughout Mexico reflect this fact. Unlike the Norse, this is a quote, unlike the Norse, the Africans and Phoenicians seem to have made a permanent impact on the Americas. So unlike the Norse were in the Americas as well long before Columbus, but didn't make an impact. They were just here. And by the way, when the Norse were here, there was always stealing somebody's stuff, but not this mass murder and stealing. In other words, the Norse and the Vikings were white folk that came to America centuries before Columbus and didn't rape the population or enslave them. Like, this is other white folk. Okay, just as brutal. The Vikings are no joke. Okay, Viking is no joke. But somehow they met these people, and we have no evidence and no history of the Vikings putting these people in slavery. Like the way Christopher Columbus and others came and did their thing, so on. No, the Vikings came, traded, did their thing. They saw vast civilizations.
I could be corrected, but I think the Norse are the Vikings.
It might be.
I think so.
Might be. The Norse might be the Vikings. But you know, when you get deep into the history, that Norse can be broken up.
Yeah,
I think Norse means north.
Okay.
I think it's another spelling of just north. So the Norse could have been a conglomerate of a few northern people, including the Vikings.
Right.
In that sense. Matter of fact, do some homework. Son was raising up a question here that we're not dealing with, but should. Was the Norse also the Vikings? Something to think about. Let me read this to you. Quote. Oh, and by the way, Son One, people are responding to that. You might want to write
I'm
down.
sure they are.
You might want to write down some of the responses.
Yes. Are they saying yes?
Yeah, Norse refers to Norsemen who were full-time traders, and Vikings refer to people who were actually farmers or were part-time warriors led by people of noble birth.
Right, but the areas, or I'm just saying this, are really,
The same Germanic.
unfortunately, I'm going off of shows
Yeah.
that I've seen where the Norse are Vikings in different parts, but of course, or they were the ones on the seas. They were traveling to different places.
And even though the Vikings have a horrible reputation,
And I don't believe that to be true. I think
that could be some craziness as
Right.
well. Even though the Vikings have a horrible reputation, Swedish, Nigerian, Norse, they refer to the Nordics, but they were a mix, some most dark.
Okay. Right.
Some people are reading here. I'm not going to read all these comments, so we'll save them. And as a fact, I was saying maybe you should go back. You have them,
Yeah.
so you go back
Yes,
and we'll do that. We'll do that homework there. My point to bring this up and why it's in the gospel as well is because I'm taking this quote from a book called "Lies My Teacher Told Me," and this book is it just brings up just things that you would not normally think, breaking away some of those myths. And I've heard on several occasions how the Vikings, for instance, and just them in particular, yes, they get that bad rap because the Vikings were slavers, the raiders, all types of stuff, but not all the time. And this is the point. It's like communities of people, like if you look at hip hop, you can say, yo, those are drug dealers, straight gun buck, they killing each other. It's the Wild West in hip hop. Not all the time. In fact, that is a minority of our culture. The majority of our culture is having a damn good time, okay? The Vikings and other civilizations are doing the same thing. The minority is always, we're gonna play that up. The rape, the kidnap, the murder, the death. We're gonna play that up, and that's gonna color your entire civilization. We as hip hop scholars got to advance our minds past that. We talked about the nature of history as well. Go back, make sure you know that lesson, the nature of what history is. So whenever you're looking at people's histories, Vikings, the Celtic civilization, Anglos and Saxons, or the Anglo-Saxons when they came together. And I'm dealing basically with European history, English history, Britannia, this kind of history as well in particular, because we're talking about that right here. But when you look at that history, don't just take what people tell you about another group of people. Every time somebody tell you a group of people was so holy and right and good, just know that's bullshit, okay? And the minute somebody tell you these people were horrible, all they did was murder, that's bullshit.
Right.
Okay.
It's the people against the people that you're
They wrote. The writers of the history are usually against us, right? The enemies of the other people are usually telling you about them. No, you got to advance your mind and realize that no society is all good or all bad. If you got to put a moral thing on it. Nobody's rolling around all holy, and nobody's rolling around all bad either. Even the Klansmen there's some story in Klan life where at least somebody breaks down and says, yo, you know what, I like you black people after all. Somebody broke down in that story. Now you ain't gonna hear that, but you gotta know human
No, that's
nature.
not true. There was a black man who went all through and spent time with the Klan.
Word.
Yes, there's
a story about it. Oh,
yes,
yeah,
he did a whole documentary.
That's right. That's right. A black man went and had a whole thing with the Klan. And they actually accepted it.
Yes.
Actually, there's a whole documentary. Okay, well, whatever. My point is that no story that you're getting is the whole story. And that's what hip hop scholars gotta realize and teach it to our children. Teaching children that this whole group of people are just like this. That perpetuates the same colonial mind state of making whole populations can be discussed as one thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The whole population can be discussed as one thing. Nah, no group is one thing. And in fact, every group is just like your group. So if you really want to know what another group is like, take a look at your group. You want to know what another family is like? Take a look at your family. Your community, your group. Take a look at that and you'll see the same things you're struggling with in your group, in your community, in your nation, whatever it is, other people are struggling the same way because it's human nature. It's just their culture is painting it this way. Your culture is painting it that way. But really, we all got to get pregnant, have a kid, or not. But the idea of parenting is always there for everybody. For everybody. You know what I'm saying? So just realize that. Now let's get back to this. I want to read you this. It says, quote, unlike the Norse, the Africans and Phoenicians, who are also an African people with afros and stuff, the Phoenicians, that's where the entire English language comes from. Really? I can't even get into this. It's the reason it's called phonics. The phonetics comes from the Phoenicians. This is and you look at their alphabet as well. Go to the American Heritage Dictionary, I think it's the 4th edition. They have a language chart in there. They start right with the Phoenicians. And you can see how they wrote and how Greek took it first, then Rome, so on, and it becomes the A, B, C that we have today. And the pronunciations, we call them phonics, and it's because of the Phoenicians. These black folk with afros, shout out to the South Pacific, like dudes out there. They look just like them dudes in Fiji Islands. Right. And them dudes, y'all out there, right, invented language. What kind of genius? Okay, forget it. So unlike the Norse, the Africans and Phoenicians seem to have made a permanent impact on the Americas. Huge stone statues in Mexico imply as much. It took enormous effort to quarry these ballastic blocks, each weighing 10 to 40 tons. Move them from quarry 75 miles away and sculpt them into heads 6 to 10 feet tall. Wherever they were from, these people, it was carving this and making, wherever they were from, the human models for these heads were important people. People to be worshipped or obeyed, or at least remembered. End quote. That's from James W. Lowen, Lies My Teacher Told Me. James W. Lowen, the book is called Lies My Teacher Told Me. I got the book and the DVD, and the CD. The CD is a lot more entertaining. The book got more info, obviously. I got both. I enjoyed them both years ago. But this is what they're pointing out. And what we're talking about is those big heads. Check out the work of Dr. Ivan von Sertima. He did an extensive research in South America, Mexico, Mexico. He did an extensive research down there on those heads, and proved that they were Ethiopians. Proved that they were Ethiopians, and with the hairstyle and all of that. There, how did Ethiopians get into the Americas? And how does and on another level deeper than that, were Ethiopians ever Ethiopians or Africans? A lot of what we're seeing today, especially with the new research coming out, is that a lot of what Africa had came from America. Or it wasn't America, not America like this, came from this landmass. Whatever civilization was here was also there. They went back and forth regularly. There's stuff from Egypt that's here in America. There's stuff from America that's in Egypt. In fact, in one of the pharaoh's tombs in Egypt, they had American cocaine in the tomb. You ain't saying nothing right now. So here we are, paragraph 180. When Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas, excuse me, when Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas in 1492, we were already here. We, the hip-hop attitude, okay, the hip-hop attitude, we were already here. We, the hip-hop attitude, have been here. Oh, that is right. I was going to say we, the hip-hop attitude, has been here. No, but it is we. We have been. Right. We, the hip-hop attitude, have been here in the Americas since before 1750 BC, as Mr. Lowen continues. Quote, and this is from the book Lies My Teacher Told Me. Showing that navigation and exploration didn't begin with Europe in the 1400s, like the Norse, the Afro-Phoenicians, who also sailed from Africa to the shores of Mexico and elsewhere centuries before Columbus, illustrate human possibilities, in this case, black possibilities, or more accurately, the prowess of a multiracial society. End quote. This has always been our aim as a hip-hop community. One, multi-skilled, multicultural, multi-faith, multiracial people committed to the establishment and the development of peace. Basically, all of us coming together for peace. And what I just read to you was the 11th principle of the Hip-Hop Declaration of Peace. Let's hit it again. This has always been our aim as a hip-hop community. Quote, one multi-skilled, multicultural, multi-faith, multiracial people committed to the establishment and development of peace. Hip-Hop Declaration of Peace, Principle 11. This is hip-hop. Africans, Europeans, Asians, and Aboriginals of all kinds seem to have traded with each other and lived together in relative harmony for hundreds of years in the Americas and elsewhere, but for the conquest of certain European corporations. Sure, there were fights and wars, conflicts and disagreements, but never the kind of deliberate genocide and enslavement of whole populations by force of arms as with the arrival of the Christopher Columbus Corporation and others to the Americas. However, it is important to point out that even though our ancient infighting and conflicts in the Americas never reached the magnitude of mass genocide and enslavement of whole populations, it was our own infighting, stealing, and lying amongst ourselves that aided in the victory of outside forces invading our lands and carrying off our resources and people. Most human beings generally sought peace and good times, play and laughter. And this seems to be what was happening all over the world, especially in the Americas before the arrival of the Christopher Columbus Corporation. But when the invaders came, we were not strong enough to overcome them, because by the time they actually showed up on our shores, we had already disrespected our own priests and tribal leaders and tribal elders. We were already disunified when Columbus arrived. We had already disregarded the warnings of our priests and shamans. And so we made it very easy for an outside invading force to seize our resources, knowledge, and people. We now know that no invading force can ever conquer a united people. No invading force can ever undermine a king, queen, or government that is truly loved by its people. It seems that before the invasion of our lands, our own internal respect and loyalty to our king, queen, priest, etc. had already weakened. And it was this weakness that allowed outside forces to invade and capture our lands and our people. Get this lesson, you better get it quick. And even today, there seems to be an ancient and original true world order that derives power through self-expression and human ingenuity, which is being interrupted and exploited by the technological new world order that derives its power out of the barrel of guns. One world is real, and the other world is indeed fake. One is indigenous to nature and spiritual law, and the other is alien to nature and spiritual laws. However, anyone who imposes their will upon you enters the relationship from a weak, uneven position, because to have to impose your will means that your will is not natural or divine. It is not in harmony with the true nature of things. It is not universal to all creatures. You never have to impose a will that is already in harmony with the nature of reality itself. It is only when your will goes against the natural and universally accepted harmony of things that universal harmony of things, that you must now get your point across with force, which doesn't last anyway because it's not real or natural. Anything you got to take by force, you wrong, and you not real, and you ain't natural. Or should I put it this way? Anybody who has to take from force proves themselves to be an animal. Let me put it that way.
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized. Straight up and down. That's the word today, boys and girls. Civilization versus uncivilized. This is the word. This is the word. Civilized versus uncivilized. And you can just look at it. Those who gotta rob people, get their point across with a gun, you gotta always do that. That means your way is not the real way. You're forcing your way. Nobody sees your way naturally. Hey, Christmas time's coming up. Don't you think we should do something with the kids? Everybody on earth, at least that understands Christmas or Kwanzaa even, understands that. Baby just born, popped out the womb today. Baby out. Don't that baby need something to eat, something to drink? Keep the baby warm. Keep bacteria away from the baby. You ain't got to speak English to know that. Love the baby. Bring the baby close to your breast. Bring the baby up. Warm the baby. Tell the baby, I love you. Thanks for coming to the earth.
It's natural.
This is natural. This is what every this is what every natural mother in her right mind is doing.
Fathers do it too.
No, of course. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. Fathers, you know, do it. But mothers are the first teachers. Come on, we come out moms. And mom got to, your first smell, your first human, your first teacher. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, that don't have a language. That don't have a book. Everybody knows murder is wrong. Even the person murdering. You know it's wrong. Stealing somebody's stuff that ain't your stuff. You know it ain't yours, but you're going to take it anyway. You know it's wrong, even if you're going to do it. You know it's wrong. So this is what I mean. I just want to stop right here and just pay attention right here, because this is what we're talking about. Civilization versus technology. This is what we're talking about. Do you have the character to build a city and then enter it? Because hip-hopia has to be a crimeless city. We got to prove that. We got to prove that. Hip-hopia has to be a crime. Could you imagine hip-hop having a space where the police say, we never have to go in that place? We can do this in our lifetime. Where the police, okay, say, we are going to give an award to this little section of town, okay, because we don't have nothing to do here. These people, they don't do nothing. All they do is party all day. That's it. They learn in the day and they party at night and praise their God on the weekend. This is what they do. No crime, no nothing. Matter of fact, the only time we get called in is if maybe somebody had something too much to drink. Somebody, you could always overindulge in any city. So you get sick. So you start acting crazy. So you start, but no, none of this murder, gang shootouts and theft. Every 5 minutes, old women are scared to walk down the block because young people are robbing them. Nah.
No sober-minded crimes.
Right, no sober-minded crimes.
Yeah, that's what it ends up being.
No sober-minded, you can't willingly but see, even sober mind. I mean, right, at the top of it is no sober-minded crimes, right. But, we can't be getting too drunk that we get so drunk out of our minds, it's like we just committing crime.
Well, no, listen, that's what I'm seeing here, is that it almost seems like there would be no crime, but people are getting way too wild.
Right. In a society like England, and here we are in Liverpool, I see the same thing like in the clubs.
Yes.
You don't get robbery in the clubs. You don't get, you don't get these, you don't get fights and brawls, gang style.
Right.
We walked in and there's our enemy.
Right.
And we're gonna disrupt this whole thing right now. You don't get that here. But white man drinking too much. White girl out here, English white girl out in the street, just crazy. Okay, we done seen that the whole week. Okay, this is all out up and down here. All these people do is drink. Okay, that's what it is. But besides that, that's the only crime you really should have in a society. Somebody overindulging in something or whatever, and then acting crazy on that. Okay, so you get the police, and they're not pulling no guns even. It's not about all that. It's just keep the peace. Just keep the peace. This is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's son. They're drunk. They fucked up. This is what it is. Throw them in a car and take them home. Get them off the street. Keep the peace.
Yes, indeed.
You ain't got to kill the person, rob them as a cop. You got to throw them on the ground and all that. No, but again, see, the police don't even have practice with a civil society. They don't even have practice. All they doing is chasing criminals. I see it in America. In America, speed limit right there, 65. Dude's doing 80. Matter of fact, when you driving trying to do the speed limit, you get in the way. You actually get in the way of mass criminality. And I mean mass criminality. Hundreds of cars in a group breaking the law together. Speed limit clearly 55, you doing 75. And all of us are, hundreds of cars, just ignoring something as simple as a traffic sign. Now you got the cop sitting there, because he got to sit there for you to slow down. You can't slow down on your own. You can't follow the law on your own. Somebody with a gun got to be sitting there threatening you to follow the law, I'll shoot you. Like, think about the society we living in. When all you got to do is follow the fucking law. And we don't have to have the pig on us. The cop on us. I mean, come on. So when you look at it, what am I trying to say here? Are we really civilized enough to have our own city? Because that's what it's going to come down to, a certain level of civility amongst each other that we ain't even expressing now. We ain't doing it now. How are we supposed to do it then? You ain't doing it now. We got to practice civility now. Now. Little things like holding the door open for somebody who's coming with you. Coming in the door with you. Don't make man or female. Hold the door. Be ready to help. Most of us don't want to help because it leads to slavery. Some people don't even know how to receive help. You trying to help somebody. They say, yo, let me lift that bag for you real quick. Let me get this. And you lift the bag, they walking with the other bag. They get to the place. They don't give you nothing. They say thanks, like you were supposed to do it. Now, not that you was looking for anything, but if somebody helps me with my shit, and I know you help, and I don't even know you, okay, but you offered to help. Now I'm obligated. I feel it in my sense that I gotta pay this forward. I got to. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta do this.
Everybody feels it.
Everybody feels it. Come on, every civilized person. Somebody serves you well. Like me, I tip big for service. Waitresses, waiters, cab drivers, other people who serve you. If they jump out, serve you well, you reward that. But most people, even those with money, they're the poorest mentality. People serving them and they still coming out with a nickel. Take them a nickel. You know they working for tips, probably a father or a mother. You got a wad in your pocket. They got nothing. And they served you well today. What do? You hit them with that 50. They're not going to see it. So why don't you be that blessing in their life? But see, this is a rich mentality. Me personally, I'm not bragging or nothing. I ain't rich. Okay. But if I got a sandwich, I'm rich. If I got a sandwich and you ain't got one, I'm rich. So in my sandwich, I cut the sandwich in half. You eat a sandwich, I eat a sandwich. Now we both rich. Or at least we can move, we can go, we can move. But why am I gonna eat the whole sandwich and leave you hungry? The character of it. I could sit in front of people and eat and they're hungry. That's how you become rich. And no disrespect to the rich. A lot of my friends are rich. Like I said, I gotta change my view on voting. I gotta change my view of these rich people. I gotta change everything probably in my own head. Okay? No disrespect.
But no, it's a different thing when you walk by somebody on the street. It's a difference.
It is a difference when you rich and you walking by somebody in the street and you know you could change their life and you don't. You know you can slide them $10, $20. You give them $1. Barely. Why? Why is this your attitude? When I was coming up, even when I didn't have no money, I still split what I had. I still shared what I had because I always felt as though I was wealthy. Not rich, but wealthy, well-being.
It's gonna come back.
Well, it's gonna come back because at the end of the day, this is the attitude we have to build hip-hopia. This is not just about talk or having money. You gotta have a character. Your heart gotta be pure and clean, clear mind, clean heart. And if we can make a society of clear-minded people with clean hearts, we get to exist for 1,000 years. Look what capitalists and colonists and imperialists did. Look, and I think it was in the Bible. I think Jesus said in the Bible.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. 2,000 years. I know y'all thinking about that shit. 2,000 years.
What?
No, because the devil was supposed to reign for 1,000 years. Keep it moving.
The devil's supposed to reign for whatever. Okay, whatever.
For all the conspiracy theorists.
Jesus said about. Well, now you got me off my shit now.
I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? Let me come back to it. It'll come back to me. Someone took me off my deal. And there was some devil, and now some old 1,000 years. And look, if you ever want to get away from the devil, read a different book. If you want to escape Armageddon, Read a different book.
Or no, it was 6,000 years.
Whatever it is, he's supposed to rule for 6,000 years. Well, that's up anyway.
Supposed to be.
Look, every year is the end of the 6,000 years.
Right.
Okay, if your consciousness is there.
Yes, indeed.
No doubt. But let me continue reading. And my other point will come back to me. You get the point, though. Civilized. This is what we're going to need to build our city. Okay. Let me come over here.
188 hip-hop is natural.
Oh, let me come over here. Let me hit you with the last part of 187 real quick. Just want to make an emphasis on this. It is only when your will goes against the natural and universally accepted harmony of things that you now get your point across with force, which doesn't last anyway because it is not real or natural. I just want to say that one more time because that's what we're experiencing now. The devil's time is up. And you can see it all around you, okay? It's not real or natural, so how long is it supposed to last? As long as he got his gun up, as long as he can still, but now the devil's all. The system is all. No one agrees with colonialism anymore. The democracy doesn't agree with colonialism or imperialism anymore. So those ways are dying now. They've been dying for over the last 150 years. Certain countries have been coming independent and all this stuff coming up from out of French rule, English rule, German rule, Spanish rule, this kind of thing. This has been going on for almost 150 years now. Countries becoming liberated. And it's now coming here to places like America, Britain, and the places in which they have colonized, I should say. People are waking up, even they themselves. You know what I saw fascinating as well was the movie Black Panther. You recall in Black Panther, I'm gonna go by the movie. You remember the part?
The first one.
First Black Panther, where the sister to the Black Panther, the young girl, the brainiac to the Black Panther, the scientist, the CIA dude, she was healing the CIA dude. CIA dude got shot. They brought him to Wakanda. He's there on the table. She's healing him with vibranium. So he gets up off the table and she doesn't, he startles her. The first thing she turns around and says, colonists. And he's like, what? Look, my name is, but right there in a superhero movie. You didn't see that? That just went. And guess what his role was? His role was CIA. And she said, colonists. Oh, it was cold. Black Panther, one of the greatest movies of all time. Told you what it was right there. Right there. And they spelled it out for you how Africans are fighting with Africans and the CIA is in the middle picking sides. Woo! This is what it is. And and this is the face of colonialism. Two Africans fighting each other for the throne. That contest makes the whole community weak. And now an outside force can come in and mediate between us. They become a judge. They become.
And the nature of the African is not to kill them either.
Right.
The nature of the African is, no, everybody deserves life.
Right, including the one who's gonna kill me.
Right.
And see, hip hop is gonna take a different cue from that one. But I mentioned that just to show you there again. You see in the Black Panther movie, colonialism is not cool no more. You can see it in a superhero flick. Colonialism and invasion is not cool. Look at the Avengers. What are they fighting over? Invasion. Mm-hmm. That's the theme. It was somebody invading you. You gotta fight. So now, and imagine this, okay? Imagine this. For 200, 300 years, invasion was the cool thing. These movies we looking at now were the books and the cartoons of old times, where you would draw the cowboy killing the Indian. And you get into that.
As entertainment.
As of course it's all entertainment. And they show you right there, the cowboy killing the Indian. And imagine you Indian, you a little Indian kid, and you rooting for the cowboy. Not realizing you just want to be on the side of the one winning. And here you go, rooting for your own people to get shot down. Or at least you looking at it and now developing a depressed attitude about your people. Because all you see them doing is getting shot down by this mighty white man on a horse. I mean, take a look at that. Take a look at that. I see somebody here, y'all distracting me.
This was, or that was the, from, you could say at least from the 50s to the 90s. That was the main narrative.
Right. Oh, not even, I think from the beginning of the 1900s, from the time film came out.
Well, I didn't watch those films.
Oh yeah, no, from the time film came out, they were killing the Indians. That was American entertainment and accepted.
Yes, indeed.
These people are supposed to die. They supposed to get killed. They savage, wild Indians.
Right.
You know, and I saw somebody here say that native is the correct term for some people. I went through that in the 90s, talking to some Native Americans. Some do choose to use the word native. Others go with the word Indian. There's some Native Americans that want to be called Indian. Others go with Native American. Others do native, you know. So it's like black folk with black, Afro-American, African-American, African, this kind of thing. It's based on who you talk to at a certain time. So forgive me indeed if I'm using Native American in an incorrect term, because Native American, we can go on for hours with that title, just like African American, we can go on for hours. I'm just using these titles, and we should be sensitive to this too. We should be sensitive to this. When we're calling nations, we should be able to call the nation correctly, and not according to the colonial name that was given to them. It just so happens that all of us are so scattered intellectually that even Native Americans have not decided amongst themselves. And you can't look at me saying, even Native Americans, like, you know, it's like indigenous people, the indigenous people of this land, they themselves don't even relate to Native America. They have a name.
Right.
You know,
America was not the name.
Right, America had nothing to do with this. Right, it's just my name, okay, Hopi, Cherokee, Iroquois, Manahosa, you know, this is the name. You know, call me by my name. But in quick conversation like this, like you would say in America, you got Caribbean blacks, and from different parts of the Caribbean, you got Fiji blacks, different part of the South America, you got South American blacks, Brazil, Peru, different from Northern blacks, different from the Mexican blacks. You get up north, Northern blacks different from the South blacks. This is all that cultural thing going on. But when we say African American, everybody comes up under this umbrella. If you consider yourself African in America, this is what you dealing with. Or Hispanic American, which is probably a broader title, because that just jumps off into all types of people, okay? But I mention this little piece because as scholars, we should be sensitive to the names of nations, even for our own psychology in that sense. To my Asian brothers and sisters out there, there was a Chinese scholar that told me the word Chinaman. Nobody want to hear that here in China. You talk about Chinaman. And then sometimes I'm talking about Chinatown. That's a derogatory term. That's a derogatory term. I say it because we all know it. There's Chinatown, it's in Little Italy. All of these are the names. But when you really peel back these names, a lot of times we're perpetuating racism and colonialism in the words we're using against our brothers and sisters or others just around us, and we don't think about it. You don't think about it. You're not trying to offend anybody, but the very language that you're speaking and the culture in which you're speaking it has you disrespecting people you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, on that level, be clear with your mind on that. Be clear when you're talking about people and you're talking about their culture, that you get their name right and you get their culture right. And if they tell you this is how I like to be represented, change your tune and get to how they want to be represented. It'll broaden you out even a little more. Let me get to the end of this read. So hip hop is natural, and it appears to rise and fall within a variety of historical people and events throughout time and space. We'll get to this later. The thoughts, attitudes, and activities that we are calling hip hop today existed at the earliest formations of American society. Our creative intelligence has been in the world for thousands of years, expressing itself in the world whenever we were stable and free enough to express ourselves. For hundreds of years, we, our collective hip-hop attitude, lived in peace with all the peoples of the ancient world. But when certain European corporations developed the gun, when certain European corporations developed the gun into an instrument of mass destruction, with that one tool, they enslaved an entire globe. And this is what every true hip-hopper must understand. Europe's rise to power did not come by way of more advanced knowledge, better government, smarter leadership, etc. Europe's rise to power came first from its improvements upon the world's already established ideas on the development of sanitation systems and medical services, the production of agriculture and industrial goods, as well as improvements in transportation and communication. But the leading cause of Europe's rise to world dominance was its weapons. It was Europe's ability to invade and kill and improve upon its weapons and warfare that propelled Europe into world domination. Europeans were not smarter or more talented as a people or as a nation state than anyone else at the time. They were not closer to God, nor did they display some great achievement unparalleled by any other world civilization. Their power came from their weapons and their foreign products like whiskey, from their infectious diseases like smallpox, Of course, there were benefits to Europeans arriving in the Americas, but historically and actually, the sorrows and the losses caused by European invasion upon the indigenous peoples of the Americas seem to outweigh the benefits. As Carol Quigley, a man professor, explains in his 1966 book, Tragedy and Hope. This is another classic, okay, in political science. As matter of fact, you know what? Stop. Because this is going to go into another read now. Where now we're going to start talking about the Plains Indians. We're going to start talking about the fragmentation of societies and how we have to put our society back together. Let me stop here. Let me reiterate something to you as well. I want to reiterate this part right here. Although I'm going to read it again next week. I want to leave this with you. I want to read this with you. As Carol Quigley explains in his 1966 book, Tragedy and Hope, quote, when white men first came to North America, material elements from Western civilization spread rapidly amongst the Indian tribes. And I gotta read this to you, because what this implies is that there's always two sides to a story. So every time you hear about colonialism, imperialism, that's why I'm gonna stop here, because the lesson here is there's always another side to the story, okay, about colonialism and imperialism. Sure, the horrors seem to have outweighed the benefits, but they were still benefits. If you want to hear the evilest thing that's gonna come out my mouth right now, and then the word is evilest. Okay, it's the evilest thing that's gonna come out my mouth right now. Here we go. There were some good aspects to slavery. Oh, I said it. There's always another side to the story.
You must explain.
I must explain this. Let me finish reading this and I'll get right back to it. Look at this. Okay? This, we're talking about colonialism. Look at this. When white men first came to North America, material elements from Western civilization spread rapidly amongst the Indian tribes. The Plains Indians, for example, were weak and impoverished before 1543. But in that year, the horse began to diffuse northward from the Spaniards in Mexico. Within a century, the Plains Indians were raised to a much higher standard of living because of their ability to hunt buffalo now from horseback, and were immensely strengthened in their ability to resist Americans coming westward across the continent. They were able to fight, they had better hunting, and all this because the Spanish are invading Mexico and letting their horses run free across the Americas. So these Plains Indians gets these horses, and now they can buck down their enemies and get more buffalo because of invasion and colonialism. We're teaching a hard lesson today. Here you go.
That would explain why they were stuck in the 13 colonies.
Probably so.
They couldn't move, or with
They
all,
couldn't move.
all the land. Right.
They still couldn't move. They had no horses.
Right.
And were immensely strengthened in their ability to resist Americans coming westward across the continent. In the meantime, the Trans-Appalachian Indians, who had been very powerful in the 16th and early 17th centuries, began to receive firearms, steel traps, measles, and eventually whiskey from the French and later the English by way of the St. Lawrence. Now notice how this is written. Okay, let me hit you with this again. In the meantime, while these other Indians are benefiting, colonialism's going down, y'all. But colonialism brought horses. Horses were not in America. These Spanish dudes come over with horses and pigs too, by the way. They come over with horses. These horses start running wild in the Americas, running wild, okay? Now these other Native Americans catch the horse. They're able to rise because of the invasion of a foreign people who are bringing foreign goods and foreign technologies, and we're using them. We're using them. So what I'm trying to do here before we end is broaden your scope. What I was trying to say earlier about the Vikings and so on, don't just get caught up in the TV and, oh, they were all bad. They were all this and that. And, you know, on the surface, we could say that. Oh, it was crazy. Oh, it was this, it was that. But if you're really going to get into the scholarship, it's always another side to the story. And you got to know that other side to know the whole story. Why do you need the whole story? Because you're making plans. And if you're making plans, you can't go with half the story thinking, oh, it's all this. It's not all that. Now, slavery was horrible. And I will never say that slavery was good in any aspect. However, as a scholar, I gotta say it, y'all. Slavery strengthened black people. Strengthened us. Look at the achievements, and I know it's crazy to think like this. Think of it in musical terms. The best music comes out the poorest neighborhoods. The dopest art, the best athletes come out of places you wouldn't think a roach could survive in. But for some reason, if you look at nature, not your emotions, don't get caught up on the TV and be moved by your emotions. No, for one hot minute, just look at nature and life. Don't judge it. Look at it. Learn. Look at it and learn. Wow, you know, we did get some of this out of slavery too. We did get some of that out of slavery too. A lot of things that we take for granted that we love today happened directly because of the experience of slavery.
The poverty.
You know, like straight up. You know, and when you're saying poverty, which is a lighter example, no, I'm keeping you, I'm crushing you right now. I'm crushing you down right now. Poverty is a more polite word. Okay, and a better example on another level is like, look at what comes out of poverty. Nobody wants to be poor and impoverished. But somehow when you get there, if you survive, you writing the dope shit. You painting the crazy. Your athletics is more than somebody else. You're more hungry. You're more hungry to do something. Well, the same thing with slavery. When you really go back and look, one of the reasons slavery was abolished was because white folk became dependent upon black people. You could call yourself master all day, but if I suckle your child, feed your husband, clean your kids, make your clothes, fix your furniture, raise your crops, who's the real master here? You can't say that I'm below you if I'm the one controlling everything going on. So you got to really take a look at this when you're trying to build a nation. Let me come to the end of this real quick. I keep saying that, right? Because I want to show this thing. Okay, St. Lawrence. These greatly weakened, this last part here, let me read one more time. In the meantime, the Trans-Appalachian Indians, who had been very powerful in the 16th and 17th, early 17th centuries, began to receive firearms, steel traps. These are the new technologies coming from imperialists and capitalists and colonists. Keep in mind, in defense of the colonists, which I will never say, but in defense of the colonists, look at what they're doing. They're just selling guns. You want one? Give me something. I'll give you a gun. And I can imagine you the colonist on the land. I'm saying, I want to get you off my land. The colonist says, here's a gun. This will get me off your land. Just give me your money. Look at the mentality of the people we're dealing with. You're not dealing with an army who comes in and says, you can't have no gun because you're going to blow our brains out. That's not what you're dealing with. You're dealing with just people on people.
It's more just give me your rice.
Huh?
Give me your rice. Give me your corn.
Right, give me your, right. And I'll give you a gun. Whiskey. What else you want? I'll give you what I got. You give me what you got. You know, Trade. So you got to think, and this is not in history. You got to ask yourself, if white people were coming over here to America to rape, rob, and destroy, why did these white folk give the Indians guns? There's a piece missing in the story. There's an attitude that's not being discussed. There's another side to colonialism that we're not hearing about. Look, so it was firearms, steel traps, measles, and eventually whiskey from the French and later the English by way of the St. Lawrence. This is a ship. These greatly weakened the Woods Indians of the Trans-Appalachian area and ultimately weakened the Plains Indians of the Trans-Mississippi area because measles and whiskey were devastating and demoralizing. And because the use of traps and guns by certain tribes made them dependent on whites for supplies at the same time that they allowed them to put great physical pressure on the more remote tribes which had not yet received guns or traps. Any unified front of reds against whites was impossible, and the Indians were disrupted, demoralized, and destroyed. End quote. I just want, because this is what we're going to go over the next time we read, is this piece right here. Okay? They're showing you that these Trans-Appalachian Indians, okay, they were powerful. But when they started trading with white folk, they got weak. And it's not that white folk weakened them. The technologies that they wanted, they got it. And because they themselves could not handle the whiskey, couldn't overcome the disease. The disease is a different thing. You can't overcome the disease, it is what it is. But the whiskey, I mean, say what you want about white people. I'm quite sure there were natives or aboriginal people. There was somebody in the tribe going, don't drink that. Don't drink that. That's the devil juice. Don't drink that. And some Native Americans was like, oh, nah, man, forget you. I'm drinking this. And one led to two, two led to four, four led to eight, eight led to 16. And after a while, everybody's on this new thing called crack cocaine. And there's Native Americans in the hood selling you the crack and making records. They selling you the whiskey. And you know it's destroying your community. So is it really the white man colonizer coming into your community and destroying you? Or are you too weak a person to stand on the principles of your ancestors when it's time to? Not when everything's going good and everything's going right, and now you're gonna stand on the principles of your ancestors. No, when the devil's in your face with a jug, talking about drink this and you're gonna be good. And your ancestors is right there going, stay away from that. Don't even look at him. Who do you go with? Well, it seems that a lot of us betrayed our ancestors. A lot of us did not listen to the priest, did not listen to the shaman healer, did not heed the vision that was received in the sweat. We didn't hear it. We wanted our own way. We wanted technology over humanity. And this is where we at with the internet right now. I'm quite sure with whiskey, there's also good benefits to whiskey. Whiskey was used in the Civil War as a disinfectant. They drank it as a numbing thing. There's all kind of other uses for whiskey, even in the medical field. Even if you want to sip a little something and put it down. Good things for whiskey, no doubt. It's not
Whiskey to babies.
Whiskey to baby, right? Baby, brandy and all of this type of stuff for babies. There's medical uses to it. So you can't say that just because the white man comes with white man technology that you now become somehow weak because of it. I don't smoke crack. Okay, they were crack all up in the neighborhood. We all know how it got there. There's movies on this, okay? We all know what the deal is. But what was it that made one person smoke it and the other one not? I mean, think about that for a minute. There's signs everywhere that says crack is whack. Big up to Keith Haring. He had a huge mural in New York on a handball court, very famous mural. He said crack is whack. Songs were done. Crack is whack. But somehow, poof, you there with the pipe. How? Well, apply that back in the days where a new technology come. Like imagine, I got stories of both Africans and Native Americans at different times being subdued just by nails and a hammer. White man come with nails and a hammer. You using glue and pitch to put your buildings together. For thousands of years, you using glue and pitch. White man says, you ain't got to do that. It's called nails. And I got this hammer. And you even get a stronger fit with this. And he's right. New technology. So he says, but listen, for this nail and this hammer, I'm going to need her and her. You so caught up in the nail technology, you like, go ahead, take her. That's your daughter and your sister. Take them. I want this nail and this technology. That's what happened, y'all. That's what happened. You think not. This is about as simple as it was too. There's a whole nother culture we dealing with. We don't think like this no more. We don't get down like this no more, where you would sell people like you sell livestock. And the concept of family is not the concept of family that we have today. We have a Christian concept of family today. Before Christianity and that bullshit over there, okay, before all that, we had a whole nother concept of family. The very word daughter comes from the word dowry, which is you are supposed to sell. The very word daughter implies that at some age of this human being, you're going to sell her to another dude. It's now called marriage.
Or that she was extremely valuable.
Well, she's all daughters are extremely valuable. Right, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. This is the value right here. If you want my daughter, you have to come with 3 goats and something else, a horse, something. But nonetheless, if you come with the 3 goats and the bushel of tree, she's out of here. Okay, that's what it is. Back in the days, there used to be things called arranged marriages. And matter of fact, I can't even say back in the days. I think that's still going on today in some neighborhoods, in some cultures, where you don't get to decide who you're going to marry. Your mother and father, actually your father in that instance, decides who you're going to marry. And it's not about you and the other person. It's about the 2 fathers getting together and go, give me 3 goats, a bushel of coconut, oil, and you can have my daughter. Or in this instance, when they say arranged marriages, it is that this guy, this family, is valuable for us to sell our daughter into. We want to be part of the value of your family. So our daughter, we're going to arrange the marriage. Or it's traditional. Sometimes it's traditional. The value is not always goods. It's tradition. We need to stay. So many families, it's not discussed, but so many families practice incest, even to today, especially amongst royal families. I gotta know who your boyfriend is. I gotta know who your girlfriend is, and chances are they better be your cousin. Ugh. Because we're not letting the power outside this group. So you're gonna have to sleep with your brother. You're going to have to get down with your uncle.
If they don't do it, they're killed. There was a woman that was killed.
There's a woman that was killed.
Against that, and her father actually killed her for not marrying the person that they wanted her to marry.
G. Simone's talking about a woman who was killed by her father. She said it happened yesterday.
I just found it on Google.
Oh, you found it on Google yesterday. Woman killed by her father because the father arranged a marriage and she didn't want to marry who he did. He killed her.
Yesterday.
Well, she found out about it yesterday.
Might as well have been.
No, but here it is.
If it's coming now.
But here it is. It's not even, it has nothing to do with yesterday. It has to do with thousands of years. This is a known practice. As I'm just running down certain other practices, like I said, what we think of family is a Christian model. That's why we think of family the way we think of it. This is the Pope, this is the church. Other people, other cultures that are not Christian, have other ways of dealing with groups, other ways of dealing with how your child is going to develop the family, further develop the family. And so we say this on several reasons. One, just to put a period on this as well, is that the way in which well, let me read this here, because this is the last part to it. Oh, what? I'm sorry. Hold on.
This is the young lady.
Banaz Mahmoud. For those that want to look at the story, G. Simone just gave me the story. Banaz Mahmoud, Banazmahmoud. Rest in peace. Kurdish woman, 20 years old. Iraqi Kurdish woman who lived in Mitcham, South London, England.
What?
Yes, this is South London, England. She was murdered on the orders of her family in a so-called honor killing because she ended a violent and abusive forced marriage and started a relationship with someone of her own choosing.
Oh, Lord.
Her father, uncle, and 3 cousins were later convicted of her murder.
Birmingham.
Crazy. That's London. That's here in England. We better get the hell out. What kind of place are we in? Okay, whatever. But that's it. If you want to look it up, that's the lady right there. You know, look, I've made my point, at least for this. And anything I say now, I'm going to go into actually another point. But this is. Do we have a pen?
Yes.
Give me a pen. Thanks, Pastor. What I want to do is start with Carol Quigley again. So I'm going to stop at paragraph 193. 193. The point to today's lesson. You have low battery here too. No, I just changed it. Good, you have low battery coming to the end. The point here, at least the point that we're bringing up here. First point is, do you have the character to build a hip hop city? We're talking about some of the invaders as well. And what I wanted you to look at here is that not only do we have to have the character, we have to be a crimeless society, straight up and down. That's what it is. That's hip-hopia. You know, not the buildings and the floor, but the attitude, the people, the character of the people that's going to live in this city. That's why we're reading this. And now we're reading how invaders and colonists have come to our ancestors. And when we say our ancestors, like I read, it's a character, it's not a race, it's a character. Because all races have participated in colonialism, imperialism, and capitalism against all other races. Everybody, it's your character that's going to determine what it really is. We also talked about not only the civility of this, but that there's always 2 sides to a story. And that as hip hop's teachers, I'm using the example of slavery, imperialism, and so on to show you the other side to colonialism. Remember that hip hop is imperial as well. We colonists too, okay? It's just that we did it the way our ancestors used to do it. And imperialism means that you are a government or a group in one place, and you are imposing, you're bringing your way, your culture, your state to another location. And you setting up shop. So it's the imperialists that colonizes certain areas. So when you land in another area that ain't yours, you ain't supposed to be there, but you landed there, there's 2 types of imperialism. One is hip-hop imperialism. When we come forward, we're invited by the community. We're not the community. We from the Bronx, okay? Let's get into it. Let's get it right here, okay? We from the Bronx. But no, dudes all over the world say, nah, that attitude right there is me right here, wherever I am. That breaking and seeing graffiti art, I could do that right here. You know, like I feel this. This is that's imperial as well. That's imperial as well. That from where you are in the Bronx, you are, you are importing. You're sending your culture out, and it's landing in other places and taking permanent residence in these other places as colonists. Breaking and seeing graffiti art DJing is colonial. It landed in these places. And it was not from these places. And it landed there. And what happened? The natives of the land said, you can stay here.
Right.
You can stay here. We need you here. We like you here. We want you here. So hip hop got invited in. but it's still imperialism.
Accepted it.
Okay, right. The natives accepted us.
Yes.
The natives accepted us, accepted our ways. Okay, that's still imperialism though. Okay, Egypt did the same thing. Egypt conquered the world. Everywhere Egypt was all over the place. But people seem to have enjoyed Egypt. They seem to have taken from that. You can go to the Moors in 711, pushed out the Christians, and took over what they called it Al-Andalus, Al-Andalusia or Al-Andalus. Today it's called Spain. In between Al-Andalus and Spain, it was called Catalonia. Shout out to the Catalonian. But out there, the Moor came in 711, or at least according to the history. Moors were already there. But Moors came in, and the Spanish people seemed to invite Moors. And Moors, like in history books, they say the Moors invaded Spain. That's not true. The Moors invaded Spain. They were there. They came there. But the people invited them in and said, no, you're part of us now. Okay.
Royalty.
They were treated as royalty, the Moors in Spain. Huge. And to this day, the Spanish people speak highly of the Moors in Spain and connect them to the origins of their civilization and so on. That's positive colonialism, positive or productive imperialism. But when you see people naturally getting this kind of respect, and you ain't getting that respect. Imagine KRS-One comes in and a native population says, yo, that's our dude right there. We want what you got. Come on in and we got you. I'm still foreign. I'm still coming in with foreign ideas, but the natives want these foreign ideas and invite me in. I'm not robbing, I ain't stealing, none of that. I'm teaching. And I'm showing my foreign ideas. And why am I showing my foreign ideas? Because I'm being treated like royalty because of them. Where I came from, I wasn't shit. Now I'm here, and I'm a king. This is how imperialism is supposed to work, okay? But now here comes somebody else looking at me. Why they just bow down when he walked by? They just fall to their knees. When he walked in the room, they just feed this dude. This is what they doing. And so you get jealous. You get envious. You even get afraid. Because they say, wait a minute, these dudes will kill for this dude. Wait a minute, what? Now the gun come out. First you gotta get rid of dude. Okay, let's go enslave him, kill him, run him off. And now what these people willingly gave to the person they respected, you now gonna take that with force of arms. You're gonna kill a few more people, terrorize the community, and make them cook for you, make them fight for you, make them accept your way because you're jealous of the original dude that was there. And the natives said, no, this is our dude. And keep in mind, let me tell you, there are so many stories of white people being accepted into native lands. Think about this for a minute. Fuck a Christopher Columbus and that colonial bullshit. Forget that. White people coming into Africa, and Africa's like, that's my white man right there. This dude right here, this is who we dealing with. I was talking about this, I forgot who I was, I might have been on the last call. I brought up Lawrence of Arabia. Another example of the Arabs said, no, this is our dude. Okay, I know he looked white, I know he British, but what he did for us and what he stands for and what he represents, we gonna say he's one of our own. And this is white folk, okay? And Britain is imperial. On top of that, they in the land taking, okay? But these Arabs don't see it that way, because it's not that way. It's we all scrambling. And we all trying to get something, we all trying to get large, and we all trying to get rich, and so on. And there's a game being played. And if you win the game, everybody respect you for winning the game. You lose the game, everybody pushes you to the side. You lost the game, man. You need to go to the back. This is the game. And when you know the game, You know how to play the game, you win the game. You win the game if you know how to play it. You win the game. The game of politics doesn't have one winner. That's why people are drawn to the game of politics. Because when you know how to play the game of politics, you become a king yourself. America's early slogan, before "Don't tread on me," was the slogan, "To every man a king." This was the original slogan, "To every man a king." That everybody over here was coming as a king. And you could get your way, make your way when you come over here. And America still flaunts that, even to this day. You could be a piece of shit in your own country, but you can somehow get to Brooklyn. Somehow life changes for you. And you can declare, "I am." And if you could back up your "I am," you are. That's the beauty of America. That's it. That's it. We can criticize America all day. But the reason everybody's getting over there is because you actually can be whatever you want to be. And that kind of trumps, for lack of a better term, that kind of trumps the racism, the sexism, the racist cops shooting, you can't get no justice in the courts, no education, healthcare messed up, housing crazy. With all that going on though, with all that going on, America is still great because I could do whatever the fuck I want, period. That's it, okay? I do what I want, and that's it. And everyone in the country has that right, or should I say privilege. They have that privilege to do what they want. And that's why when you in America and you on the corner begging for money, if somebody goes past you, dude, that's when rich people, we just talked about this, rich people going past you. And this is why the rich go past you. Because they like, dude, you in America, okay? We throw away 50 tons of food a day. Okay, that's probably one state that I just mentioned. Look, I'm trying to remember a statistic. Okay, that's probably one state. Probably New York throws away 50 tons of good food every single day. Okay, and we talk about starvation in America. People hungry in America. United Way got a whole campaign trying to feed people in the United States, trying to get people above poverty in the United States. Imagine. There's not poverty, it's a mental disorder. It's not about poverty, it's a mental disorder. It's something you don't believe about yourself because you live in a country where you can pretty much do anything. Pretty much do anything. I mean, think about that for a minute. Come on. I'm a staunch critic of the United States. I am, and I will remain one. But when the truth is in your face, you become a fool if you're going to sit there and keep talking the same stupidness and the truth is in your face. Well, the truth of the matter is you could be anything you want, really from wherever you are. You don't have to be in America. Because remember, those people who leave other countries to come to the United States, they got to first believe in themselves where they are. For you to even try to get to the United States, you got to be sitting on your bed where you are and say, "I'm done with this shit. I'm out of here. We're going to figure this out." But that's from where you already are. There's so many thousands of people that don't even arrive at that. They just sit there and they take to whatever it is. They say, "I'm just going to be here." Some people say, "Nah, I see something bigger for myself. I see something better for myself. And it's not around here. At least not for me. It's not around here." Where is it? I was watching TV the other day. And I saw some black people with big gold diamonds on their neck. And they had all types of rings on their finger. And they looked like me. They looked like me. And then you do a little more research and you say, what is this thing? What is this with these black kids and these Hispanic kids? They running around with diamonds and jewelry on them. And then you read further and say, well, these are the poorest people in America. Like, just think about how you look to other countries. They say, if you really do the research, you say, those people you see called rappers and DJs and hip hoppers and breakers. These are the poorest people in the country. This is the most marginalized. These are the ones going to jail. Flick on the TV. They're the ones getting shot.
Yeah.
Okay? Then you turn on another channel, beat going. Zoom, doom, back, back. Yo, I got the shit on. Listen to me. I'm chilling right now on MTV. What? Dude look just like me. The cop on his back just like me. He ain't got nothing, I ain't got nothing. But wait, somehow in America, the poorest of America, the lowest American is higher than your royal family in your country. Rihanna, the queen, just went back to her country and was awarded all type of government shit. Okay, forget a Grammy and all of that. Rihanna went back to her homeland and the government came out. It's like, that's it. That's it. You are Rihanna. We understand. We recognize. Okay, straight up and down. Now, all due respect to Rihanna, she's part of a group that's the lowest in the country. Now, she may not be the lowest in the country, of course, but she's
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. But wait a minute, that's why I'm stumbling with my words, because I'm saying, of course, no, we all start from humble beginnings. But even as known as Rihanna is, as rich as she might be, she still belongs to a community that's marginalized, poor, working class people. She's still part of hip hop.
Yeah.
She relates to our community. There's other communities that she can relate to. She don't relate.
Right.
She relating to our community. People she hang out with us.
Yeah.
Okay. So no matter how rich you get, no matter how thing you get, your community is still being respected as a successful thing to be. Other poor people in other countries, they're looking at us. They're looking at us. They're looking at me. They say, look, this guy KRS-One, he didn't even make it to high school.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how to do it.
This guy didn't even make it to high school. Okay, I dropped out I got left back in the 8th grade twice. How you get left back in the 8th grade twice? Twice.
It's fuck this school.
That's what it was. Listen, I couldn't figure school out to save my life. Okay, literally to save my life. I could not figure this out. Okay, but I loved the library. For some reason, I felt comfortable in the library. I would go and read and take my little stuff, and I thought I was doing something horribly wrong. And I wasn't going to school.
No, listen, I got left back, or they wanted to leave me back in the 8th grade, but the vice principal
Ooh.
and the music teacher felt like I was the most intelligent person in the school.
So they moved you on.
They pushed me through.
And you know, that was another thing too. People criticized that too later on in life. That they said they were pushing through kids that couldn't read.
No,
couldn't write.
they let me get through with raps.
Right.
I wrote rap and did it that way. And they accepted that. But they also knew no. Or between all of the students that were there, I was the one against violence. I stopped this chick from getting beat down in the bathroom. And it was an intelligence. Or it was a real thing. It had nothing to do with scholastics.
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. Had nothing to do with scholastics.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Has nothing to do with scholastics. It was who you were.
Yes, indeed. This is my character.
They saw who you were. This is the first education. Who you are.
Yeah.
Who you are. I don't brag about not going to high school. I don't. I feel cheap. Okay. I wish I did go to high school. And actually, when I lecture at universities, I often yearn to be in the seat myself and be like, damn, imagine KRS-One in college. I would crush that. I'd be a nice student. I would probably be an A student in college. I would probably be the professor would have such a great time. I'm learning what I need to know. You know, this is what it is. But again, I mention that to say that there are others that are watching us. And like me, I think I've used myself as an example that most people know. You know, I'm self-taught. You know what I'm saying? So as what they call autodidactic, being autodidactic, self-taught, what happened was that I showed myself, and I liked what I saw. Like I read myself into existence. I saw other people in book make mistakes. They wrote their mistakes down. I used to always be amazed at how you can avoid so much problems just reading somebody else's problems. It's like you can avoid everything. Somebody told you, I did this, this happened, and here's what the result was. That's the importance of books. That's the importance of imparted knowledge. That you don't have to go through the same hardship to get the jewel of the understanding. Somebody else went through the hardship, but they delivered the jewel. And now you could just take the jewel without the hardship? I got over that. My book collection is ridiculous, okay? Because I really want to understand. And so for me, it wasn't even about school. It was about understanding. And that led me into a different kind of learning. It started with the library, but then I took it outside and started asking, why is that column like that? Why do they have those columns in front of libraries? Then I learned there's a Doric column, there's an Ionic column, there's a Corinthian column. I started looking around now at the columns. Then I realized, I said, oh, these Greek columns, somebody pulled my coat. They ain't Greek, that's African. Go look at Hatshepsut. The tombs of Hatshepsut, the Greeks taking credit for the pillars that they have, and you can see 5,000 years before Greece even existed, the same pillars in Africa with Queen Hatshepsut, who's really credited as the first one with this, but we know it's even before her. This is the only ones that survived. Okay, but that's 5,000 years before the Greek civilization. You know, this is just another, so I'm learning this, and I'm learning about myself. And what I'm saying is that I need you to do the same with yourself. Don't just watch TV or read a book. Look at the world. Hear what people say to you. Look at the wisdom, the mistakes that others have made, and add to yourself their solutions. I'm not going to make those mistakes. I'm going to mature myself. I don't need to go through the pain and the suffering to get this piece of knowledge. I can get this knowledge just by reading or by hearing or by seeing. I can get this knowledge. You know, there's a film that was last night. I was watching some television here in Britain here. And the history of country music came on. I advise everyone to try to get, it's a Ken Burns production. Look up Ken Burns, famous documentarian, Ken Burns production. It's the history of country music. I was fascinated. I stayed up all night with this dude. I'm flicking the channels, and then I see Johnny Cash. I'm like, well, let me just watch Johnny Cash for a minute. Dude start dropping bombs, okay? Just bomb after bomb, bomb, bomb. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I'm going back and forth. They're dropping the heat. It was the history of country music. And they laying you down. They laying you straight down, okay? It started here, this dude, that dude, da-da-da. Of course, multicultural people, they broke it down. They even brought the Spanish in. They didn't even know that Spanish Indians had something to do with country music. They broke it all the way down. And I'm glued to the TV, like, what, do you see this? And it's just on the TV. And I know nobody cares. So nobody cares. One way, nobody don't care. It's on like 12 at night, 1 at night, late night. Don't nobody care. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at this like, this is the greatest of all. I was like, thank you, God, for showing me this. I'm taking notes. I got my recorder out. We was up till like 4 in the morning watching this. Okay, just like this last night, and it may come on tonight. Well, I'm here. I don't know if y'all can get it, but it was a Ken Burns special, and you should look it up. It's called The History. I don't even know if that's the name of it, but I think that was the name of it, The History of Country Music. But just look at Ken Burns, his documentary work, and look at what he did with country music. It might be the same thing. It has episodes and stuff. I think each episode's like 2 hours an episode or something like that, even an hour an episode, something like that. But try to get episodes 1 and 2. They were amazing, really amazing episodes, and broke down country music. Also inspired me as to, because I'm writing a script right now for hip hop for the last 50 years in that sense. And so we're gathering knowledge in that sense and so on. And as I was looking at this documentarian, I was like, wow, that's exactly how I'm going to come at hip hop. We have a slightly different approach because it's a different kind of different thing. We're not just talking about a music genre. Where they were just talking about the history of the music genre, country music, with sprinkles of culture and sociology on it. We're opposite. We're going to have culture, sociology, with sprinkles of the music, and so on. So it's a different take. But what I saw, I was like, very impressive, what they chose to say, how they said it, who they gave credit to. This kind of thing. Script writing was excellent. It was actually excellent. I advise you to get it. Last thing on this as well. So we're looking to do a Christmas party. I'm talking to 1520 Sedgwick Avenue right now. Just so you know as well, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks now, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue had a fire in the place. Two apartments caught on fire. You know what happens in the Bronx when buildings catch on fire. Everything goes. But they was able to get that. They managed to quell it out. The point of the matter is that, as I said to you, the only object in hip hop that I'm really concerned about is the 1520 Sedgwick Avenue building. That's an object. Those of you that study with us, you know that we approach hip hop as a subject, not an object. The museums that deal with hip hop, they can collect hip hop's objects and try to preserve object. There's a place for that, there is. But the Temple of Hip Hop is more concerned with hip hop as a subject. So the idea of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue as an object, as a building, is probably one of the only objects we're concerned with. Yes, we're building our own temple as well in Newark, New Jersey right now, but and that's an object. But in terms of hip hop preservation, 1520 is the object. So we're looking at the community center. We are managing the community center space. We announced that we're putting an exhibit in the space. January, we're going to start some crowdfunding actually on that, and so on. December 25th, I'll be back in the United States around that time. So I'm looking to do a children's Christmas party there at 1520 for the tenants of 1520, for the children, but even for the tenants if they want to come down. But we want to do our Christmas party right there at 1520. Give gifts to the kids, cut a cake, feed, talk, read the story of Christ. Have all that go down. In addition to that, there's something to be said also about Kwanzaa, which is, with its 7-day acknowledgement. We want to take a look at that as well. Kwanzaa and the 7-day. This brings us to the new year. And on December 32nd, actually for others, December 31st, for temple members, December 32nd usually starts 12 o'clock on the 31st. We give ourselves that half day, 12 o'clock on the 31st, all the way to 12 o'clock midnight. We usually do our fasting, our praying, our visualizing during this sacred time. And so we're looking to do a hip hop New Year's party at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. I'm thinking this up right now. I don't have approval for any of this, okay? I'm bringing it up to you right now, and I'm confident because, again, everybody involved is involved.
Okay.
So, shout out to Mr. John Crotty, MC Crotty, who is the owner of the building. Okay, big up to Miss Gloria Robinson. Oh, I think I went out. Hold on. I think. Oh no, I'm back. Shout out to Miss Gloria Robinson, who's the president of the Tennis Association, and her assistant, Miss Geraldine Davis. This is 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, y'all. These women, elderly women, holding it down too, trying to keep the building right, trying to bring light to hip hop there. These are older women too, by the way. 80. Miss Geraldine Davis, she's 80. Gloria in her 70s and so on. You know, this is what it is, okay? And of course, Crowley, he's an older man as well, in that sense. But the point is that these are the people that run and own the building, and of course, they have sanctioned us and ordained us to represent 1520 on their behalf, and really on hip hop's behalf as well. So my next idea with 1520 is to have a New Year's party there. I'll give you more information on this as it develops. So on. I sent out letters. I have an email sent out to Miss Gloria, sent it out to Mr. John Crotty, sent those emails out to them. They're responding back to me. I'm quite sure they'll be like, word, we was actually thinking the same thing. But I'm just actually announcing it and saying that New Year's night. Now, of course, if it doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. But right now, yeah, New Year's night. I'm hoping to have Grandmaster Flash DJing, maybe even Hurt, so on, or maybe multiple DJs actually can get down in that sense. In fact, if it's multiple DJs, I may actually receive my true hip-hop certificate by DJing at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. And for Temple members as well, those of us that are DJs, if you want that under your belt, I suggest you start getting your ticket money together now. Because that is something, as I sit here and talk about that, what an accolade to have under your belt as a DJ, you know? As you say, I got down for 10 minutes at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, and here's what I threw on for my 10 minutes. I went down, and it was at 1520 during the New Year's party.
Came into the 50th year.
But this is the point. I'm glad you said that, thank you. We are coming into the 50th year. That of course, is the political point. And as I just mentioned, the cultural, more touchy-feely with real people point, and these kids that we got to deal with as well. And inspiration, bring inspiration to the neighborhood as well. That's what we're dealing with. That's the culture side. Come on over here. The political part of it is that while everybody else is focused on August 11th, 2023, they forget that the entire year is hip-hop's 50th anniversary. And so we want to make sure that we kick off the year right. We have several events throughout the year, but let's start the year off right. Let's get to 1520, at least that's where I'll be, 1520 at 11:59. And let's count down, Happy New Year! At 1520, pop the champagne, throw on the brakes, and start going, probably start with Apache. Move right over to James Brown, and then the party starts, and then we go out into something. I'm quite sure if the party gets big enough, Mad Stars are coming through. It's a private party, not private, but it's probably probably something like that, because the place don't hold so many people. But I'm quite sure it's going to be rammed out there as well. If they know we have a party, everybody's going to be there trying to get in and stuff like that. So that's what we're thinking about, y'all. Just think about that. A Christmas party for the kids at 1520. I'm going to come back to you on this because we're probably going to raise some money on that. We're probably going to collect gifts. You know, if you can send something to 1520, a gift for one of the kids there as well. We're going to be doing that kind of work, Temple of Hip Hop work. You know how I go. We're going to be doing that kind of work for 1520 Sedgwick Avenue for Christmas. Then it's the new year. We want to bring in the new year. First, politically, we want to jump on everybody, period. 1520, we right there announcing hip hop at the top of the year. Mad stars coming through. We're gonna invite the mayor, but he may have to drop the ball at Times Square. I don't know what he's gonna be doing, but we will invite the mayor. All mayors will be invited as well, recording artists. And like I said, I would love to have Herc DJ there. Let me make sure he's in town. He could do that as well. Grandmaster Flash as well. You know, have dudes come through. Maybe Coke LaRock can even spit his rhyme and do his thing. But this is what we want to do. This is what we want to have. So I mentioned it. You now know what it is. I'll keep you abreast as to what's going on as we go. Probably by next Sunday, I'll have more approvals and know what exactly we're doing. So there it is.
Yes.
There it is. Thank you again for listening and being part of this, because again, look at how we're setting up. I'm right now on a phone doing this, so on. So those who are walking with us, again, I thank you for this. We were late today because of me, and so I thank you for giving your time. You know what I'm saying? Your time and your mind to this kind of a talk and so on. If you on this call, you serious hip hop right now, and you're serious about hip hop. I don't think there's any other conversations going on at this level of hip hop. I don't know, you know, obviously other people are talking other things, but when it comes to hip hop, this is the center right here. And I don't say that arrogantly or anything. We're doing the work, y'all. We're doing the work. Shout out to the Hip Hop Alliance. Another major situation going on there. We have a conference, a Black History Month conference with the Hip Hop Alliance coming up in February. We have a team of scholars coming together to do that. It's going to be our second conference with the Hip Hop Alliance. So we thank you for that as well, for the support of that. Remember, the last Hip Hop Alliance conference we did could not have happened without the Temple of Hip Hop, specifically Sun One. But it could not happen. It was wild. Maybe someone will tell you more about it. But just remember that as chairman of the Hip Hop Alliance, the finances of it, the organization of it, the order of it rests upon me. I have the final word on that. Now, of course, I'm not a tyrant, so I do refer to others. We have board members, we have other people with ideas. So I refer to other people with ideas, but the leadership part of it, I'm on top of my gig. I'm right on my job. So the idea is that last conference we had as well was us thinking that this is what KRS wanted. We are thinking about here at the Temple of Hip Hop. We just come through different names and different entities. But again, that's what the Hip Hop Alliance is. It's a bunch of alliances. You got your company, no problem. You got your name or whatever, your brand, no problem. With the Hip Hop Alliance, you remain who you are, but you bring your resources to an alliance. We're trying to start a union where we benefit, where we benefit, but where we are actually able to pay benefits to hip hoppers in their older years. You know, we got to build daycare centers. We got to build old folks' homes. I mean, keep it real. When we get older, who takes care of us? You know, we need a hospital, clinic, and we can have all of this within our lifetime. We just have to believe in ourselves. I believe in myself. Do you? Well, here I am. KRS-One, I'm out. Make sure you understand the read. You got to be civilized to start a civilization. Peace, y'all.
Peace and much love. I'm gonna just let y'all know real quick tonight on Boom Bap Nation Facebook, facebook.com/Boom Bap Nation, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Boom Bap Nation special performance goes up tonight. For those who couldn't attend the Hip Hop Alliance conference and didn't get a chance to see this, you're gonna want to see it tonight. Again, that's facebook.com/Boom Bap Nation. Peace and much love to you all. You know what it is, the Temple of Hip Hop. Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. We believe that the best way to preserve hip hop is to preserve the actual hip hopper themselves. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Peace and much love. Live from Liverpool. You know what it is.